So you're the bastard planning 9/11 times 1,000.
No, you think so small. You see, I'm about to have an elaborate peace ceremony. And while all the world's most important people are distracted here, I will detonate the WMDs, which I have given to terrorists all around the globe. It will be 9/11 times 2,356.
My God, that's... I don't even know what that is.
Nobody died.
Let's go to the movies.
Like now. Yo, how's it going?
Not too bad, man. You?
Yeah, sick,
It's been a while.
Oh man, so long. I've actually, to be fair, I haven't seen you face to face in fucking ages.
No, this is the closest. It's been well over a year. Sure.
Yeah,
When was
shit.
your leaving due?
Oh shit. Near my
'Cause that would've
birthday
been the last
2
time I
years
saw
ago.
you. Yeah, wow, 2 fucking years, dude. It's been
Yeah.
it's been a long old time.
And it's mad because you used to live up this way, didn't you? So I've just come
yeah,
back to where you
kind
told me never to visit.
yeah, it's the ass end of nowhere. There is nothing to do, and you seem to be thriving. So that's good,
Mate, it's sick. To be fair, well,
I'm losing it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've got like a quieter area of it. Like I'm not in center. It's like, you know, there's not a lot that goes on around this specific.
Yeah, but you're miles out from the cinema, and that's
True.
where I start losing my mind.
And you know what? Having Limitless in the Odeon absolutely has ruined my life in post because I'm like, what, £15 to see one fucking movie?
Yeah, yeah, it's fucking crazy when you pay
Such a
that
joke.
for a month and go see everything.
Yeah,
the
it's a
only
piss.
issue is if they have a movie that's on like the big IMAX screen, the iSense screen as they call it, that fucking, you need to pay extra for that, and it then becomes like I need to pay a $5 to go see this movie
On top of your
like,
Limitless membership.
on top of the Limitless. So I would kind of not do that most of the time because like I don't want to see, I don't care about Deadpool and Wolverine enough to go see it on iSense, or I don't care about Wicked enough to pay the extra money to go see it. I'm already paying for this ticket.
Do you find it makes much of a difference? Oh no, I bet it was different. To be fair, for any Robert Eggers stuff, like I bet it was absolutely nuts.
I saw an iSense screening for that, and there was only one in the evening, so I missed a few screenings, and it was like I'm waiting to go see Nosferatu today. I still saw it on day of release. It wasn't the first screening, but
you know what?
That movie was worth it on the bigger screen, and like you can literally hear his voice like booming through you and stuff. So it is worth it if it's a movie that you want to go see it for, you know. But yeah,
to like
again,
get that
Wicked,
impact.
Like, yeah. But for like Wicked, Deadpool, and Wolverine, I could watch that on the smallest screen possible and still get what I need from it.
Yeah,
you know?
I find that. Two things that are going to make you probably disgusted at me. One, I haven't seen Nosferatu yet. I am desperate to because it looks like my shit.
It's just come out, really. I mean, we're in March now. You kind of should have seen it by now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you fucked up a little bit there.
No, I do need to. It looks absolutely insane. And I was hooked from the premise because obviously the original story is so cool. I should say this episode is not actually about Nosferatu, but fuck it, let's go anyway. Secondly, Skarsgård said that it's put him off playing villains because Nosferatu was so evil a character to inhabit that it's like affected him psychologically. And the Schadenfreude in me is like, oh, I want to see that. Like, I kind of want to see that happen.
As much as I love Bill Skarsgård, that's like, it feels like such a douchey thing to say, man. Like I needed to inhabit the character so badly that it's affected my mental health. Like you're acting, dude. You are acting. You are pretending. You're not really a fucking vampire that has been dead for a long time. You're not really a walking corpse that can suck blood, dude.
I get that.
You're not bringing a plague.
If you're surrounded by a camera crew and you've got someone literally saying action and cut, and you know you've got all your other actors that you'll see later on over lunch and stuff like that, like. I do get that, but I think over time, if you're constantly trying to put yourself in the frame of mind of this evil character, I could see it taking some psychological toll.
If it was like a more of a realistic kind of villain, if you know what I mean,
like a Ted Bundy character or something.
If you were playing Ted Bundy and you were doing that for 6 months and you were really getting into that, then I could understand that. But it's a fucking vampire, dude. Like, come on, chill.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's like, oh, I needed to pretend to be a zombie for 6 months, and it really messed with my head. Like, come on,
no,
man.
I cannot eat anything that remotely looks like a brain. Walnuts are gone. Like, I cannot eat walnuts.
I'm a vegetarian now.
Right. So, for anyone, if anyone ends up watching this fucking show, it's called Watch This, and each week me and my good friend Jordan are going to take a movie and ask the other one to watch it, and then we're going to host their opinion and you know, run through the plot lines, the background, cast and crew, that kind of shit. So for anyone that
another one of those,
yeah, as if the world needs one, but to be honest, it's just a chance for us to hang out and talk about films and anything else. So just to get the big points out the way, Team America World Police, directed by Trey Parker and Matt Stone of South Park fame, released in 2004, and I didn't know that its first ever screening was at the Denver Film Festival. Could you fucking imagine being at that festival and seeing that roll up after some art house shit about like the growth of a sunflower and then America? I love
Sometimes you need a palate cleanser, and this 100%. Is the perfect kind of movie for that.
Yeah. Sometimes
you don't want to watch an art house movie. Sometimes you just want to watch puppets have sex.
I mean, we will get to that. I personally think it's one of the funniest movies of all time. But then I think that Trey Parker and Matt Stone are two of the funniest people of all time. So
100%. They haven't made anything that is amiss, in my opinion. You know, Orgasmo, Basketball, the South Park movie. That's one of the greatest musicals of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
South Park movie.
And then to actually make their own musical as well for Book of Mormon, like everything they've done. I haven't seen Book of Mormon, but I know a lot of the music, being a musical theatre fan, and just I need to see it one day. But everything they've done, they're constant hits, never a miss.
I think they've gotten to a point of creativity, these guys, and not to like suck on their cocks too hard, but like I think they just have such a natural reaction. Like the thing that's funny isn't the joke they're trying to make; it's their own reaction to the world, and the way that they put that out is naturally funny. Like. I saw an interview with Trey, just a small little clip, where he's talking about how he comes away from the final cut of a specific South Park episode, and he's like, that's ended our career. I hated it. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even good. That episode turns out to be Make Love, Not Warcraft, which is one of the most successful South Park episodes of all time. Mate, they're too good. So, yeah, released in 2004. If anyone somehow hasn't seen this movie...
How old were you then? How old were you in 2004?
I was 9 when this movie came out.
Yeah, me too. So we were 9 years old. Did you see it when it came out?
I saw it the year it came out.
I shouldn't. I was far too young.
I had a mate called Ollie who so my parents were like shit hot on that. They were like, no way are you touching anything with any age rating on it above like, you know.
Me too.
And then my mate Ollie, not to say his lovely mum, good friend of mine, wasn't a good parent, she had just a bit more of a relaxed thing. She was like, my son is intelligent enough to know it's a film and that it's puppets and you shouldn't do that. And the main issue, I think, with most parents is the language and stuff they use. But if you can't stop your kid from, you know, effing and jeffing in school, what does it matter? They're going to do that when they go work in a factory anyway, so who gives a shit? Yes, so using Thunderbird-style marionette puppetry instead of any traditional animation or live action, apart from a couple of moments, which, again, we'll touch on. Generally, it's just a brutal takedown of American foreign policy and actors. Like, just in general.
Celebrity.
Yeah, celebrity culture, yeah. And notorious, I think. So...
Still relevant, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, none of the points... I was watching it and just thinking, like, holy shit, 21 years later, and I agree with all of it still. Yeah. Which actually brings me on, like, I did want to ask a few questions. So if I'm the one hosting this week, I'll ask you questions about sort of what... And we can go back and forth on that. So we did just touch on the first question I had written down, which was, when did you first see Team America? And what were your thoughts? So 9-year-old Jordan, put me in the headspace.
This movie was everywhere. Like, you could not escape knowing that this movie was coming out. I was a South Park fan already at this point, and I was constantly getting into trouble for repeating things that I was hearing in South Park. So I was very excited for this movie, knowing that it was the South Park people, but also like just it was advertised constantly. So as soon as it came out, a friend of mine, sort of like you, because my mum was not going to let me watch this movie, but a friend of mine ended up getting a pirate copy as it was still sort of out at the cinema, and he was just sort of handing that around to people at school. So I got to see it very early, and it just naturally it blew me away. It's so funny, it is so offensive, and it just from the get go as well. From the get go, there are a few moments that I can't believe they're doing this joke already.
Yeah.
Like the opening scene, the hand-to-hand combat scene where they both come at each other and they're just flopping in front of each other is such a brilliant visual gag. And
so
I can't
good.
believe that they did that in the opening scene, because they do it again a fair few times. It gets less funny each time I see it, but that first scene where they do it, it's absolutely fucking hysterical. So right out the gate, they are coming out with
it is properly
really funny stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And like one of the things that I don't know if I noticed the first time I watched it, but the paving stones in Paris are croissants.
Well, croissants, yeah.
Like it's just that level of
It's
detail.
real attention to detail. Yeah, exactly.
So
And some
funny.
of the plants they used in certain scenes were actually weed plants and things like that.
Oh, I didn't spot that.
I don't know why they did that, but
Interesting.
It's there. It's just a nice little touch.
It adds to replayability, right? Like if you put in these little details that are easily missed because you're focused on the main plot points, when you watch it like we just did for the 405th time, and then you start seeing these things, it's very funny.
And these are the details that Trey Parker and Matt Stone are just brilliant at putting out there. Like everything they do, you can rewatch it, and there's always something in there that you hadn't noticed.
Yeah, totally. So on that subject, I was looking into the details, development, that sort of stuff, and the way they put together the puppets and shit like that. You know, the Uzis, they cost $1,000 each.
I saw that because they had to make everything miniature
but
to
detailed,
scale.
miniature but
exactly.
perfect detail. Like that's absolutely insane. The puppets' eyes are emotive. They move. They're not like just dead glass-eyed like your old Thunderbirds or Captain Scarlet stuff. Like they properly like emote. It's insane.
The puppet work in the movie was absolutely insane, and it is all of that kind of stuff. It is the facial expressions that the puppets were able to get across that that really make the movie.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's funny, I think it was one of them, Trey or Matt, was talking about how puppets telling jokes aren't necessarily funny. Puppets being very serious is what's funny. So, and you can't get that seriousness across without emoting and, you know, having those facial expressions and shit like that. Like, what character? The martial arts expert talking about how when I was a child, I was raped by Mr. Mustapheles. Like, coming from a puppet, that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
That's one of my notes, actually, is I also hate that musical.
Oh, Cats! Yeah, man.
Cats is awful.
Definitely not one of Webber's best. And I actually haven't seen the James Corden vehicle either. But
I saw the trailers and I thought, I don't need that in my life. I'm not a Cats fan.
No, that's valid. So that's scene one. Overarching there, you've got the introduction of Team America, a global police force, which the wording of global police force, just Team America World Police, in terms of the comment on American foreign policy, is fucking hilarious. Coming from the UK, obviously, a bit hypocritical, given that ever since Tony Blair, preemptive strikes in Iraq and all that kind of stuff, like we kind of share some of that burden as well. Like we've been tarred with the same brush of trying to police the entire world. But I mean, America, that is apparently what they do. Yeah, right. Like what? So that like
America.
Yeah. We sort of cut off a little bit of ourselves and planted it in some soil over there, and it grew into an 8-foot monster of just, you know, fucking destruction. So yeah, you're introduced to Team America that way, supposedly an elite military force fighting global terrorism, but they actually refer to each of the factions simply as terrorists. And I thought that was an interesting point at first because, you know, that's what Americans seem to just refer to the enemy as a lot of the time, is just terrorists. But in the movie, the terrorists refer to themselves as terrorists as well. Which is
They're
absolutely
not
cool.
freedom fighters or anything like that. They refer to themselves as terrorists.
No, absolutely. So you saw that shit back when you were 9, 2004, and you felt a certain way. Bit older now.
I did not understand most of it.
Right,
You know,
so
it was just a silly, funny movie. It works for its silliness, but as an adult, it works a little bit better. Knowing that I kind of fucking hate celebrities at this point. This movie savages them, and especially after COVID and all that kind of stuff, where they were coming out and saying all kinds of shit. This movie is 21 years ago, man. 21 years ago,
Yeah.
and it is so relevant because they are still getting up and talking shit in front of the cameras. They will read something in the news and they'll parrot it like it's their own opinion. And they
Helen
made
Hunt
that
says
joke.
that word for word.
They
Yeah,
made that joke in the movie. That's what they do.
I think it's Janine. It's not Helen Hunt. It's Janine Garofalo. Goes. It's our responsibility to fucking read the newspapers and say what we've read the next day as if it's our own opinion. Yeah, it's
that
funny.
is what they do, and I am so tired of it. And it just every time I see a celebrity not talking about a film they're doing, it's like, okay, seriously, shut up, man. Like your opinion does mean nothing. And it's the reason I like Kurt Russell so much, because he gets asked a question about like gun control or something like that, and he says like, I shouldn't give my opinion because I have the power to sway people's minds. And it's true. They do have the power to sway people's minds. Someone that really likes George Clooney, hears him say something, they might think, oh, well, George Clooney says it, it must be true. And it's dangerous. It's so dangerous.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it's funny because like arguments are always made that if you're in a position like that, you have the responsibility to do something. I think there's such an argument the other direction where you actually have the responsibility to keep it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You have a responsibility to not do anything. Just keep doing what your job is. Just make your movies, talk about them, and leave the rest of it to everybody else to make their own minds up.
Yeah, like it is a shame that some people do have their opinions swayed or not even swayed, just generated by the celebrity that they follow. But you're not going to stop those people existing for whatever their mental weakness happens to be. They are following the scripture of this singular person for absolutely no reason other than they enjoyed them in that one Michael Bay movie.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just silly, really. So you've actually just absolutely smashed through 3 or 4 questions that I had about.
Oh, hell yeah! Ask them anyway.
About no. So the first one on that was. So the first one that actually still needs answering is: has your opinion of the movie itself changed over time?
I think the problem with comedy movies is at a certain point you know all the jokes and they sort of stop landing. And I had that experience watching it last night, that I've seen this movie so many times over the years that even though it's been about 5 years since I've seen it last, a lot of the jokes weren't landing because I was playing them in my head before they were happening, kind of thing, you know. There are a few jokes that I hadn't remembered that really did get a good laugh out of me. There are some visual gags that will just always be funny to me, like the cats at the end being the Panthers is just a hysterical, a brilliant visual gag.
It's so funny, and especially like, just not to cut you, like, please continue after this, but with the cats specifically, you can see they're both cat owners, you and I, you can see they're not in attack mode. Like, they're very relaxed cats. Like, it's just...
they'll meow and they've just put the roar in there, and it's brilliant stuff. It really is funny. So yeah, the movie it is still funny, but less so because I've seen it so many times over the years. But I think having seen it as a kid, and I didn't hate celebrities like I do now. I didn't know anything about foreign policy. I mean, I still kind of don't, but I'm a little bit more politically minded because I'm an adult now. So all of that stuff lands a lot better than it did when I was a kid. So I enjoy it still, but in a different way as I did when I was a kid. And it's the same with South Park and all that kind of stuff growing up watching it. I enjoyed it for the silly immaturity, kid swearing and stuff like that. And as an adult, I like it because it's taken things that I can see people take so seriously and just pointing out how fucking stupid a lot of it is.
Yeah, man. I certainly didn't know what I know today about the Jews. That's edited out. That's getting edited out.
No, leave that in. Leave that in.
Well, how can we have a podcast about movie making without talking about the chosen people? So yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with you. I liked it for different reasons. Simply, when I was younger, I liked it for different reasons entirely. The puppetry was funny. The action scenes with puppets are always funny. The jokes about actors and foreign policy meant absolutely fuck all to me back then. Yeah. So yeah, I think, as you say, it's the
actually no. I spent a fair bit of the runtime waiting for Alec Baldwin to pull out a gun. And I was kind of disappointed that it didn't happen. I was really hoping that
That's
at some
hilarious.
point Alec Baldwin would whip out a gun and maybe shoot someone. He didn't have to shoot someone, but if he just had a gun in his hand at some point, this movie would have been
That's
as,
so
as
funny.
pathetic as Simpsons was.
I didn't even think about that for a second when I was seeing Alec Baldwin.
Really?
Like, honestly,
as soon as
that
Alec
is
Baldwin
so
popped up,
funny.
that was what was in my head.
Oh, savage. Oh, I don't wish that man any ill, and obviously that
No,
must
me
have been
neither,
a serious...
I do feel really bad for him. I feel really
But
bad for him.
had that happened 20 years in advance, oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah, generally, I think I still enjoy the movie as much, if not more, because of that. But yeah, because of the things I know now compared to when I was 9.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's the curse of comedy that if you've already heard the joke, it doesn't punch your gut as hard as it did the first time around.
And I mean, I've known the movie since I was 9, so I've had a lot more life since then, and I've seen that movie so many times over the years that just, yeah, a lot of those jokes are just ingrained in my mind that I was just sort of playing them out before they were happening. So it's no fault of the movie at all. If anything, it's a plus for the movie, you know, that it's that good that it has never left my brain, essentially.
Yeah, and I think it's natural. You can't have a comedy movie and have it be always funny forever and ever. Like, eventually this movie won't be funny to someone else. I think it'll take a long time before that happens. Yeah, like, as funny as the jokes are about the celebrities, instead of it just being like, haha, that's a funny joke, I'm like, oh, it's so accurate. It actually pisses me off. Like, I'm like, oh, no, you're not wrong. Like, oh, I just want to go fucking... I don't want to do anything to celebrities before anyone fucking, like, you know, comes at me with that. But yeah, it just pisses me off. Like, these people on their thrones. I mean, come on. Again, that's the conversation we need to have maybe in a different podcast. Okay, so has your opinion of the movie changed over time? I would say no for me. I still absolutely love it. I think it's fucking brilliant. But the reasons why I love it are subtly different.
Watching it again anytime soon is all I could say. Really.
Sure. I get that. I have rewatched it a million times, as I'm sure you have as well. So maybe it's just burnout for that. And in future episodes, I'm sure we'll experience that again with other movies.
I was sort of 10 minutes through the rewatch, and I was thinking, like, I probably could have raw dogged this podcast. I remember it was
I thought the same thing.
That I didn't really need to rewatch the movie for it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did, because it was the first time in a long time, and I did notice a few things that I hadn't noticed before, but yeah, I don't think I needed to.
No, totally. I think I probably could have done it from memory as well, but there we are. It is a very special movie to me. I know it's a weird movie to have like a place in your heart, but it really does. Like, it's such a fucking funny movie, man. Right, so next question I had, which you've already answered already, it's basically the movie absolutely destroys Hollywood, US foreign policy, and just the general genre of action movies as well, with the ridiculous gore and blow effect.
Savage is Michael Bay.
Yeah, 100%. So do you think
destroys Michael Bay?
I think you've already smashed this question, but do you think that satirization of those subjects stands up as strongly today as it did in 2004?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's still relevant. It's still painfully relevant. Michael Bay's still making movies. Celebrities are still getting up talking shit about things that they shouldn't be talking about, and North Korea is still scary.
Ooh, yeah, I wonder. Oh, mate, Team America 2, King Jong-un. That would be a funny one.
They would never do it.
No,
they would never.
They'd never get away with it now. Like, those guys have such leeway compared to the rest of them, and
they would get away with it, I think.
You think?
I think they could easily make a Team America 2. If they decided that they wanted to, they could easily do it, but they don't want to. The puppets were way too difficult to work with, and all that kind of stuff. The budget was ridiculous, and I think everybody involved has pretty much said, as much as they enjoyed it, it was the worst experience, so they're just not going to make another Team America movie.
Well, that's totally valid. I don't necessarily know for sure if they would be able to get that green lit, but you know, those two, their company has much more leeway than most other people from the looks of things.
South Park's still going, and it is still just as savage as it's ever been, if not more so.
Very true. So what was the budget on this?
If they wanted to do it, they could.
No, I suppose you could be right there. Budget was $32 million in 2004. So goddamn. That is a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
For something when one member of the cast plays 400 characters, that is a huge budget.
Yeah.
Oh, that is hilarious.
I think most of the cast were just random voice actors anyway, so they don't usually take much really for their roles, do they?
Yeah, like a few of them I recognize from video games. Like the guy that plays Samuel L. Jackson is Fred blah 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 Tataska, however you pronounce that name.
Nice, nailed it, perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
I know exactly
Let me
who
look
that
it
is.
up. Fred Tatasciore.
Okay.
You'd recognize him from a few different things. He's voiced Hulk and Beast in a couple of X-Men cartoons here and there, which X-Men and Marvel cartoons. But you'd definitely recognize his work. But he plays Samuel L. Jackson, of all people, in the fucking movie. We'll get onto cast in a minute.
I can only remember speaking like once, maybe.
Yeah. When he holds up the guns or whatever, he's like, "Motherfucker!" or some shit. That's literally all he says. Okay, so this was an interesting question just because I saw that some reviews seem to get it so wrong, or at least in my opinion, get the message of the movie so fucking wrong entirely. I see it as a genuine viperous, venomous attack on American foreign policy, acting culture, that sort of stuff. There are people out there that see it as very pro-America, which is insane. Absolutely insane to me how anyone could watch that and be like, hell yeah, man, Texas forever, Lone Star State. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't see how that's... Do you get what I mean by that? Like, and sort of...
media literate people watching it and just not understanding the satire at all is kind of a common issue, I think. There's a lot of movies that people miss the point of completely, and it wouldn't surprise me that this is one of them.
That's fair. It happened with Pink Floyd's The Wall. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have.
Absolute acid trip of a movie. That one.
Yeah,
but, you know,
a weird movie.
You know the bit when during Comfortably Numb he shaves off his eyebrows and he shaves off all his hair, Bob Geldof. You don't remember?
I don't remember it.
Well, basically, he's in his hotel room and he's having a bit of a breakdown, and he, like, after the show, and they've like pumped him full of drugs just so he could play the show, which is like what the song Comfortably Numb like talks about. And then after that, he's dressed up in your Hugo Boss Nazi uniform in front of a huge crowd with a plinth in front of him doing the whole Nazi thing, and he's clearly lampooning Nazi culture, or, you know, the blind following of these despotic figureheads. And people even back then in like the 70s thought that was pro-Nazi somehow, just because of the imagery, which is it just goes to show that, like, someone will get it wrong. Someone will, you know, it will go down the wrong hole for them, as it were.
Yeah, always.
Which is nuts. How could anyone with two brain cells to rub together watch this movie and think, like, yes, America forever? Like,
by listening to the music but not listening to all of the lyrics.
Yeah, that is fair. The lyrics in the theme are so funny.
Like the America, fuck yeah. They talk about a bunch of things that America's great for, and then they'll throw in like slavery, fuck yeah, and stuff like that. And it's
one of the last lyrics is books, and the answer is huh?
Yeah.
No, they don't say fuck yeah. It goes books, huh?
Which makes sense because why would America read a book?
Whoa, I mean, yeah, it's just it beggars belief. Like, you try and be empathetic to other people's way of thinking or whatever else. Like, you can't just storm ahead and, you know, one answer isn't right for everyone, and that goes for all situations. You always have to be open to other people. You can't just steamroll them. Like, I'm really bad for that, as I'm sure you've known me for a few years now. Like, sometimes if I get an idea in my head, I won't even listen to the other person's opinion. I just like steamroll over them, and I feel really bad for that afterwards. But sometimes it's like, fuck, I've just listened to your opinion, man, and it deserves to be steamrolled. Like, you're a fucking idiot. Which, it's just what it is.
Yeah, those people do exist, unfortunately.
Yeah, they do. The bottom of the barrel. So, pretty traditionally, the South Park guys do love to have everyone in their crosshairs. Every single person. There's not one person they wouldn't joke about, and I think they've actually gone on record as saying the only people they won't take the piss out of is each other. Like, that's kind of, they draw the line out that. Do you think they pulled their punches for any specific group in this movie, or do you think it was like unilaterally fair? Do you think they took on everyone?
I mean, there's a lot of people that weren't featured in the movie, so I mean, obviously it's mostly focused on sort of Middle Eastern terrorists, or like sort of North Korea or America in themselves. But I don't think it pulls any punches at all. I don't think that it's unfair to anybody. That's the thing with Matt and Trey. I don't think they've ever been unfair with the things that they say or the people that they're taking shots at. They're taking shots at celebrities who already have everything, or they're taking shots at people that are trying to fucking kill people to get their point across and things like that. So I think everything that they did is perfectly fair. Maybe they could have savaged Scientology a little bit. Would have been nice. I like it when they savage Scientology.
Yeah, me too. Don't come for us, by the way. We're just two lowly English boys. We don't know what we're talking about. We'll watch.
Come at me, Scientology.
Yeah, fucking 2 weeks after this comes out, watch us both be Scientologists.
Meet me in court.
Meet me in court. Let's fucking go. Yeah, bring your best Travolta. Oh, that's funny. I mean, yeah, I think I agree. But that's just par for the course with those two. Like they really they go for everyone with the same intensity and as hard as they can. Some jokes are better than others, but that's just the nature of writing. Like you have to stop writing eventually.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to them who you are. They just want to make fun of the silly thing that you believe in. And I think that's fair and valid, to be honest.
Just reminded me of a joke. You know, the air attack when the sort of the team's falling apart and they're like, you know, there's a lot of that going around.
The sad team America.
The sad team America. What would you? No. What would you do? Is America. Fuck yeah. So during that scene,
to save the motherfucking day.
Yeah, it's so funny. That minor key is just brilliant. But yeah, in that part of the movie, get dive bombed by these terrorists. And one of them in the plane goes, "I'm Durka Durka," and the other one goes, "I'm Muhammad Ali."
There's a lot of darker darkers in there.
Durka Durka Durka. That was my mate's ringtone for like 10 years. Every time he got a text, he'd go, Durka Durka Durka. That was very funny.
It's one of the funniest parts of the movie.
So I do have many more questions, but just for this chunk of it, because we got another hour and a half of this, I reckon, in us, or whatever, just to talk about the whole thing. Were there any jokes or moments on the rewatch that caught you off guard, that you forgot about, that you thought, holy shit, I forgot about that one, I can't believe they did it?
No, realistically, I remembered all of it. It's just some of the visual gags that I had kind of forgotten. But yeah, most of it was deeply ingrained in my head.
Fair. So none of the jokes, specifically the jokes, none of them were like, oh god, I can't believe they had the balls to do that, or were you just not surprised because of your fanship?
I guess I guess I'm just not surprised by anything that Trey and Matt do at this point. I just know that everything they do is gonna be fucking savage and is usually gonna be quite a good point, you know?
That is such. We haven't even really touched on that. Like, they're not wrong. I've never seen them have an opinion, or like, you know, the sub what do they call it? The semantics of what they're getting across. Like, I've never disagreed with them, I think, on many things.
They just have a great way of pointing out the absurdity in just about everything
of life.
Really. Just completely. That is just the absurdity of life and the absurdity of the people that you're sharing that life with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all need that, because if we take it too seriously, we'll all have aneurysms.
Oh yeah.
Right, so that, we haven't even got past the first scene yet. So that is Paris. They fucking come in, they're trying to take out the WMDs from the terrorists, and they end up completely leveling Paris anyway, which is fucking great.
Everything is so close together as well.
Yeah, like Paris is right
next to the Louvre and all that kind of stuff.
So funny.
If you watching the behind the scenes stuff, they're saying that they wanted to make it sort of the Americans' idea of what Europe is like, or like the Americans' idea of what Cairo was like. So they know that Cairo has pyramids or a sphinx and things like that. So it would just make sense that they're right next to each other.
Yeah. Totally makes sense.
Realistically, they're not. They're miles apart.
That's very funny. I didn't see anything about that, but that is a super interesting point. Like the sort of globalist vision of the UK being, everyone knows the Queen, Buckingham Palace is inside the River Thames and it just sort of floats about. Yeah. That sort of thing.
It's like I was watching Eurotrip because of
Oh,
obviously Michelle Trachtenberg dying.
rest in
And
fucking peace, baby.
yeah, crazy,
Girl.
absolutely
Oh.
insane, absolutely insane. But the literally the moment they get to London, they walk out of the airport and they are outside Buckingham Palace, and like you see Big Ben right there. And it's like that's not how that works.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a movie, so it kind of works for it. But for me, I see it and I think that's fucking stupid. But anybody else who hasn't been there is gonna think, yeah, that's right.
It's also hilarious though. Like it's just
It
hilarious
is
that
funny.
the idea of
It
like
is
just
funny.
that complete ignorance of how fucking big the world is compared to like your own existence. There's a drummer from a band called Stray the Path called Craig Reynolds, and he has a brilliant podcast called The Downbeat. If anyone's sort of metal or I think I've lost him again. No, you're all good. If anyone's sort of metal or instrument inclined, definitely go check out the Downbeat podcast as well. But he put up a reel of him and his American girlfriend on the London Eye, and he was like zooming in on Big Ben and going, and that's where the Queen lives. And she's like, oh my God, really? She lives in a giant clock that we called Big Ben. Massive Mohammed, as it was rumored to be changed to fairly soon.
Man, that was crazy as
That
well.
was
And again, so many people believed it. So many people believed it.
There we go. I mean, that's what this kind of film touches on, especially towards the end of it, is like, having the world believe what they're being told by the media without even questioning it. That is a big focus point of this movie. Right.
Why celebrities are so important, I guess.
Oh, thank God they're there.
How else are we gonna know how to feel about things?
Honestly, I wouldn't. I would sit in the dark all day if it wasn't for Alec Baldwin.
If they didn't sing Imagine during COVID, I don't know how I would have gotten through that.
All in different keys and all at different tempos and all that sort of shit. Yeah, absolutely.
That was horrific.
Some of them were musicians as well, and I'm like, how fucking dare you call yourself a musician?
I feel like Prince most of the time when I see stuff like that.
I've often said you look like Prince.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. I think was it Feed the World or something like that, and
Oh
Prince
my
is looking
God.
around and like seeing everybody else singing. He just looks horrified.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
Michael
feel
Jackson. Michael Jackson has a video. There's a video of Michael Jackson like that, and he's looking around. I think he's stood next to like Ian Dury or something.
Maybe it's Michael Jackson I'm thinking of.
It's so funny. He was just
Michael
pitch
Jackson,
perfect.
Prince, same guy.
I mean, we can touch on that if you want. Like, the inference of what you just said is pretty big. Moving on. Right, so yeah, Team America, sorry, not America on the whole, but, interchangeable because they are representing the United States. They land in Paris trying to take out some terrorists with the WMD, weapons of mass destruction. And they end up...
They do it, though. They do their job pretty well.
Yeah, and they end up absolutely leveling Paris in the process. And they turn around and they say... What is it they say?
Everything is born.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's one of the best opening scenes of all time, especially seeing as you open up with a puppet and you're like, okay, I knew this film was about puppets. Is it literally this bad? And it zooms out and it's a puppeteer puppet with a puppet.
Puppetception.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
It is a brilliant opening shot, to be fair.
It's very, very funny. So that leads us to the next act section, whatever you want to call it, which brings us to Broadway.
Everyone has AIDS.
And everyone has AIDS, including your mother, your brother, your sister. Everyone has AIDS.
The gays, the straights, the whites. I'm not going to say the other bit.
And the shovels. So yes, we get to meet actor Gary Johnston, superstar actor who is in a musical called Lease. I don't feel like I need to explain that joke to anyone out there. Suffice to say, everyone has AIDS. AIDS. It's the last AIDS, he says. It's just totally off rhythm.
Let's get one last AIDS out there.
So good. Yeah, obviously taking the mick out of one of the most famous and successful Broadway musicals of all time, Rent, which we may have an episode about Rent in the future. I actually think that the story of Rent, it's an amazing musical, absolutely tragic about the writer and director as well. Dying on, I think, the opening day.
It was opening night, yeah.
Oh, fuck that. Anyway, let's not talk about that during Team America because that feels like a disservice to him. But yes, we meet superstar actor Gary Johnston, who makes his way to the green room afterwards and is approached by a Spatswood, possibly my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Voiced by I forget what his name is, but he was the voice of Cosmo in Fairly Odd Parents.
No way, is that the same guy?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he was also the physical actor of Gordy, the janitor in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, which is another show that I grew up absolutely adoring. So he was a pretty big part of my childhood, I guess.
The name
especially with this.
Darren Norris, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Don't recognize the name off the top, but goddamn, yeah, he is just absolutely fantastic in this movie. So going into that,
now suck my cock.
Yeah, man. Which is another, like, immediately talking about, like, just the disgusting transactional nature of Hollywood and all that sort of stuff. He goes, "Oh, I get it. You're from Hollywood, and I'm supposed to let you put your finger inside me, and then if I go down on you, you'll give me a part. Is that right?" What? No, Gary, I'm not from Hollywood. I'm not gonna fuck your mouth, and my time is extremely valuable.
What, a good 18 plus years before the Me Too movement?
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
We all knew about it. We all knew about it.
Holy shit. So the Weinstein stuff happened 18 years after that? And then we're already talking about
around that. When was all of the Me Too stuff? Was that shortly before COVID? I would assume that there was like sort of 2018, 2019 that all of that stuff was going down. But
oh, you are way off. I mean,
really?
the 2018, 2017 was the Harvey Weinstein stuff apparently. Yeah, okay. And bear in mind, anyone watching this,
that was the huge.
Yeah, that's when it really ramped up. Yeah. And good.
Oh, yeah,
like,
no,
we're very glad it did. Yeah,
damn right. Yeah, no, fucking right.
So that was 2017, 2018, but apparently the grassroots movement of Me Too was actually 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it took 10, 11 years for that to actually trigger, which is nuts. Insane. It just goes to show that no one in the higher ups, none of the producers, none of the execs were interested in that movement getting any process. Like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's insane.
And it's being lampooned in this movie 2 years before that movement was even started.
Yeah, but I mean, there would be a lot earlier lampoons of it as well. Like, it's not something that has ever really been hidden, unfortunately. Like, we all know that Hollywood is
oh my god,
very fucking predatory.
I mean, Roman Polanski and Woody Allen, whether or not, like, I'm not claiming to know too much about what happened on either of those, but the fact that they were even embroiled in these kind of things professionally.
The Roman Polanski one, there is no defending that.
No, 100%, 100%.
No, the Woody Allen one, you could argue like, hey, maybe that didn't happen.
I won't, because I don't want to be in that seat. But
I'm definitely not going to argue that didn't happen. But we don't know. That is one person's word against another. But
horrific,
like, the Roman Polanski one, that's crazy.
Episode 1 of Watch This, and we're bringing down Hollywood. Fucking let's go. Yeah, the fact that he still makes movies is crazy. The fact that he still makes movies is insane.
Rosemary's Baby's fire, though.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh, dude.
Wait. I think is that the Antichrist one?
Yes.
I think I saw it once, and it may have been a long time ago.
Yeah, that is a great movie. I mean, Polanski's made some really good movies. Chinatown is a great flick, but it is hard to remove what he did.
Well, you can't.
And no, you can't. You definitely can't. It also makes me feel strange about Jack Nicholson as well, because it happened at his house. And
what? I didn't know that.
Wasn't there, but it happened at Jack Nicholson's house. Yeah, he took pictures of a 13-year-old girl at like the photo shoot happened at Jack Nicholson's house.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, mate, I don't even know what to say about that. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. When you really start looking into things like that,
my initial reaction, to be fair, to be very clear with you, and you know me very well, my initial reaction there is to make a joke about it. Does that make me a bad person? Like,
no, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I don't think making a joke about something horrific makes you a bad person. I think doing something horrific would make you a bad person.
Yeah, which is very in keeping with the movie that we're talking about today. As far as I'm aware, Trey and Matt haven't actually ever bombed a country.
The volume's being silly.
Yeah, no worries, man. Now he's gone, I can tell you all his secrets. Oh, he's back. Never mind.
All right, yeah, it's working now.
There we go. Nice. Yeah, fucking hell. We got on a tangent there, didn't we, mate? It just seems like the moment the big money comes into these industries, the moment that you have life-changing amounts of money going into people, degeneracy just germinates and it just becomes commonplace. Like the joke he makes there is, no, you know, I'm not from Hollywood. I'm not gonna fuck your mouth, and my time is extremely valuable, right? And then he gets in the car and he goes, "Now suck my cock," as a joke, right? But the whole thing, it makes you wince because it's accurate. Yeah. Because it's like, holy shit, some poor girl or some poor guy has been in that situation, like trying to follow a dream, trying to do what they can to, yeah, right, trying to follow a dream, trying to make something of themselves. Probably moved miles away from home, maybe. And, you know, now they're in a position of, oh shit, do I turn down the opportunity of a lifetime, or do I suck this 60-year-old man's balls? I'd suck the balls. I wouldn't be happy about it.
Same.
I'd suck
Realistically, same, but what a cost, you know?
What a cost. This scene, just to drag us kicking and screaming back to the subject matter, this scene has one of my favorite fucking jokes in it, when he goes, a flying limousine. Now I really have seen everything. And he goes,
seen a man eat his own head, Gary.
Really?
Well,
have you ever seen a man eat his own head?
seen everything.
Really?
Brilliant.
Well, have you ever seen a man eat his own head? No. Well, then you haven't seen everything, and neither have we.
And neither have we.
It's absolutely fantastic.
That's an important part of that joke.
And the fact that Baxter is introduced in this scene as well, who is clearly a woman with a mustache, and that's never explained for the whole movie.
It does give you Dee from It's Always Sunny vibes.
Yeah, when she's playing that, when she's playing that fucking I'm annoyed at myself for not remembering that. Yeah, she plays it's a name like Spotswood or something, isn't it? I suppose you could just Google it, but it really can't be fucked.
It really doesn't matter.
No, it absolutely does not. So they recruit Broadway actor Gary Johnston to help. Oh mate, this podcast is all over the fucking place already. I kind of love it. They recruit Broadway actor Gary Johnston to infiltrate a terrorist organization of which they don't quite know the shape of yet, or the source, or anything like that, which is why.
Because that's what spying is. It's acting. They clearly, you know, actors are so important that they need one to save the world. They cannot do it without an actor. That's how important actors are.
Did you notice the parallels between like the introduction of characters in war movies to the introduction of Gary as a character? Because they, like, the exposition that Spotswood gives is like graduated top of your acting class, fucking Top Gun actor. Like that's the same. That's the same as, like, they go in, they go, hey, you know, top of your class in shooting and, you know, computing and all this kind of stuff, and they do that with acting. And again, it's just pressing that, oh, actors are so important. Like, they are so important.
They're badasses, man. They're badasses.
We've all been in action movies.
Yes.
So good. Absolutely fucking brilliant. So
regards.
It's actually one of my favorite scenes of the movie. I think is just the musical into how do you get yourself so sad like that? It's easy. I just think about the saddest moment of my entire life, and then you hear gorillas screaming in the background. Yeah, I think that's just one of the funniest scenes in the movie, personally. And it covers some great points, and you get into the limousine. Spotswood, Baxter drag him to the HQ for Team America, which is Mount Rushmore, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Going into George Washington's face.
Is it George Washington out of the?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was G-Wash.
Oh, that's really, really funny.
That magical racist.
And he's then introduced to the team. The team includes Lisa, an idealistic psychologist. This is straight from Wikipedia.
Whose fiance died on the opening scene.
Yes, indeed.
Freeing her up for a potential romantic relationship later on.
It's a one-way ticket, babe. So that's actually a fucking great scene as well. Like, when he dies, it's so funny. Don't joke about that. Who's joking? It's so good. Oh man, everything. I'm rereading the notes, and it's like, yeah, it might be one of my favorite movies of all time. I think this movie is so fucking funny. Like, not because of quality. It's not like cinema history. It's just so fucking relentlessly funny.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it is a hysterical movie.
So the team includes Lisa, an idealistic psychologist, her love interest Carson, who I believe is the one that dies at the beginning of the movie, or is that a different character?
That would be Carson.
You got Sarah, a psychic.
She's an empath.
Mate, that just tells you everything you need to know about that character.
Every empath that I have ever met, she is so correct and on point, and she knows what you're thinking without anything other than just knowing.
I sense you're feeling confused.
Brilliant.
So other than Sarah, you've got Joe, who they describe as a jock here, but I think he's just sort of your classic Freddie Prinze Jr., blonde-haired, chiseled jaw, good-looking action hero, who is in love with Sarah, which does come up in future scenes. And Chris, another one of my favorite characters, a martial arts expert who harbors a special hatred towards actors in general.
His aggression is incredible.
Yeah.
I wish I had the creativity of some of the things he said.
Yeah, man. Right from the beginning, when he's at the pool table, he just goes, "So this is Carson's replacement? A fucking actor?" Like, he has no need to be that aggressive to someone he's never met before, but he just comes out guns blazing. I love him for it.
The threats he has are just incredible. The drilling a hole through your dick, so when you pee, you gotta pee in all different directions.
Yeah.
That's savage.
I'm gonna cut your balls off and shove them up your ass, so next time you shit all over your balls. It's genuinely one of the funniest movies, I think. So yes, as we said, Lisa was in love with Carson, and he proposed, but he was killed in that opening scene. Spotswood brings Gary to Team America's base in Mount Rushmore and asks him to use his acting skills to help infiltrate the terrorist cell that they have been following for some time. I think it's possibly the funniest and most racist depiction of like freedom fighting throughout the world in any movie ever. Like, I genuinely think it's so funny and so unacceptably racist. Like, when they're coming in, when the music changes when they land in Egypt. Oh, dude, it's too good.
Yeah, that entire Egypt sequence is incredible. The way they have the Cantina song for what sounds like the Mos Eisley Cantina song playing as they go in. Like, this is how alien this is to Americans.
Yeah, very funny.
It's literally sci-fi music.
And they've got instruments that clearly don't exist on planet Earth as well. Like, and the singer in the back is just going, "Jihad, jihad, jihad." Jihad. Which is one of 5 words. Oh, brilliant! It's one of like 5 words that they have any of the terrorists
Jihad,
say.
Muhammad, and Durka.
Yeah,
really.
that's it.
That's it.
Durka,
those are the
Durka.
3.
And they got that. Come on, Gary. It's like, show them your acting skills or whatever he says, and then he just snaps to it and just goes, "Durka, Durka, Muhammad Jihad."
Muhammad Jihad.
Papa
Sherpa Sherpa.
Yeah.
Oh, Durka.
Oh, absolutely stunning. Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, the change in tone. Oh, shit.
It's so racist. I love it.
It is so insanely racist. But we did actually miss out on one of the best gags in the movie, and that is the is it full skin graft valmorphication or whatever they call it, and they spend however long and however much budget and all those tools that are all now covered in blood.
His face at one point,
and it's just blackface with some tufts of hair attached.
Stuck in random places as well. It's so brilliant.
It is absolutely brilliant.
It's so funny, and it just the way that works on everyone that he comes across, and also the way it works so well for the team that he blends in so well that they don't realize that he's him, which puts him in danger for the rest of the scene.
Yeah, very, very funny. And the fact that the signal they chose was this.
I think he's saying, "Kiss me,
smart ass bastard,
motherfucker."
Yeah. And Lisa, oh no, not Lisa, Sarah calls them up and goes, "No, the one in the back is Gary. Don't kill Gary," or whatever. And they can't hear her. And so he just goes, "Signal's bad. Let's just kill these motherfuckers and see what she wants." It's such a good joke. Again, it's another point of like just the American approach to stuff, I guess. We're sounding very anti-American in this. It's just because of the movie. Like, it points out a lot of things about American approach to, shoot first, ask questions later. scorched earth, motherfucker, that kind of shit,
Yeah, I should probably say that I absolutely adore America. I think it's a wonderful country. The scenery is absolutely incredible. I would love to live there one day. It's beautiful.
Well, it's a country
But
where you've got every biome imaginable.
yeah,
You've got deserts, you've got swamp, you've got lush like grass steppes and flatland, and then you've got like mountainous. You could go within the same day, hypothetically, you could go swamp boating, skiing, and sunbathing all in the same day.
Yeah, and you've got animals that are actually fucking dangerous to you and stuff. So a walk in the woods is actually fun.
Oh yeah,
You get a bit of adrenaline going.
Over here we have, I think the most dangerous animal might be like a specifically angry deer or something like that. Yeah,
a deer might run into you, and that's about it.
Yeah. No, we do love the States, but yeah, governmental foreign policy seems to leave a bit to be desired. But we don't have the answer, so we can point out. We're not here to bring solutions. We're that guy. We're the one that just chats shit and has nothing to add.
Why would you want solutions from two people doing a podcast anyway?
No.
That's worse than taking your solutions from celebrities.
And you know what? That's kind of the point.
At least they've earned some money.
Yeah, right. At least they've proven successful in one avenue or another. We're just sitting here like doing this for fun. So why the fuck now? And by the way, your background's way better for this than me. Yeah, exactly. Your background is way more suitable for this than me. I've had to blur this out because I haven't lived in this house long enough to have it decorated or anything yet. But yeah, you got Army of Darkness back there. You got Texas Chainsaw, Lego Batman, your big DVD collection. Should probably be clear that between the two of us, you are the cinephile.
100%, yeah. But this movie actually has a connection to Army of Darkness. The cinematographer for this movie did the cinematography for Army of Darkness.
No way. Oh, that's cool as fuck.
He also did the cinematography for the fucking Matrix.
Holy shit. No wonder it kicks ass then.
He said the reason he did this was because he was so tired of working on green screens and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he worked on this because he was actually working with actual things and miniatures and sets and stuff like that.
Super interesting. I mean, like that. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense as to why it's so effective then, because the cinematography itself, the choices they make in terms of camera angles, filtering, colors, pace, that sort of stuff, is Hollywood. Like it is full on Hollywood extravaganza. Like it's done so well.
Yeah, they were doing things that you couldn't do in real life because of the size and scale and stuff like that. So you can have these really long tracking shots that you wouldn't be able to do in real life just because you don't have like stuff big enough to be able to do it. So yeah, really well made movie. They hired the right guy. I mean, he worked on Army of Darkness. Anyone that's worked with Sam Raimi is a legend.
Yeah, no, absolutely fair enough.
But he also did the Spider-Man movies, not the first one, but Spider-Man 2 and 3. Since Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I think, was the first one he did with Edgar Wright.
Cool.
But any Edgar Wright action movie since then he's worked on. He did The World's End and Baby Driver. So
wow,
they got a fucking good cinematographer, and I think they said to him like, you don't need to do this movie. It's probably going to have a negative effect on your career. And the guy's like, nah, I read the script. It's great. I want to work on it. I'm tired of working with green screens. So let's go. And I love that sort of the love and respect for the craft to work on something completely different.
So that is a Mr. Bill Pope that you're referring to?
Yes.
Wow.
Bill Pope,
fucking shout out Bill Pope. Holy shit, what a career. And well played. Like so many people are protective of their careers because they're worried about what other people will think or whatever. And call it woke agenda, call it whatever you want. Like I'm not making a comment on people's right to be offended about stuff. But if you tiptoe around not wanting to do something fun just because it might piss one person off in a world with a population of 8 billion, you're never going to end up doing anything.
Yeah, I think that's just more a risk of Hollywood, really, isn't it? Because you say that one wrong thing and
game over.
Your career can be completely gone, or you could make a whole bunch of great movies and you can just make one that is a critical flop or a commercial flop, and you're not getting another job. So a movie like this is a big risk because who's made an adult puppet movie before? Even when they did a Thunderbirds movie, they did it live action because why are we going to make an actual puppet movie? So that mad respect for everybody involved in this movie for doing
Yeah,
it.
absolutely mad respect. And I'm so glad we did this. I know it was my choice, but I'm so glad that we did this as a first episode because, as you say, I could have done it from memory. I think it's such an iconic movie. Oh, we're just weeping over how much I love these two guys, Trey and Matt, and everything they do. Oh God,
They are just incredible.
yeah.
Again, everything they have made has been a hit. To me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Paragons of quality, these two. But it's they don't phone any of it in, and I think that's so
And they're making
important.
stuff to entertain each other, which by osmosis entertains us. We like feeling like we're a part of something, I guess, and you do feel a part, like you do feel like you're in on a joke when you're watching stuff by these two.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Because if someone's writing jokes that's like for a focus group, like specifically trying to get an audience, it's so easy to feel isolated by that because you're like, well, clearly that's not for me. Whereas if
that's the thing. If you try and make something for everyone, you end up making it for no one.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. Well said. Right.
I definitely didn't make that up. Somebody else did.
Oh, it's way too profound for you, mate. Like,
there's no way I could say something that profound and deep. I read that somewhere.
So, outside of this absolute clusterfuck that happens in Cairo, so the reason the Cairo mission ends up going to shit is literally because they spot two of them stood there with guns in full Team America regalia, stood outside the fucking window, and they see them into chasing.
They landed a helicopter in the middle of everything.
Yeah,
with full branding on it. They
That's
all get
so
out.
funny.
And they're like, "Don't worry, we're here to find the terrorists."
At full volume, which is just absolutely fantastic. And again, I think a comment on just the general US approach to stuff, because they are relentless with it at this point. No.
Not subtle. They've got a lot of guns, and that's it.
For the whole movie, they press that button over and over again. Like, this is how we deal with our problems, and it's brute force, it's bulldozers, and it's high volume, and that's what everyone does.
And you touched on it. Each member of the group has their own specialty, but realistically, they are just there to run around with guns and shoot the fuck out of everything. Like, it doesn't matter that you're the psychologist or anything like that. You're just gonna shoot them.
No, exactly, and that is illustrated fully by the fact that the empath walks into the bar, massacres everyone with a Gatling gun. Yeah. She walks in, shouts for Gary. Everyone turns around to her. She massacres every single one of them, apart from the belly dancer, the bartender, and the band. So, but there's still like 100 other people that she's killed.
Got some good aim.
And then with no emotion on her face at all, she just restates, Gary.
As if she hadn't just fucking slaughtered him if he was in there. The movie, incredible gag.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant.
That's one of those jokes that I've always remembered. That's one of the first ones I remember like really cracking me up as a kid.
Well, whether or not
in the suck my cock joke. That really got
with
me as a kid.
With the leveling the room, like, you could dissect that joke into a million different ways, but what it looks like to me is just emblematic of the shoot first, ask questions later. And I know that sounds very obvious, but if you say it out loud, that really is the foreign policy that they're taking the piss out of.
She did ask the question first. She just didn't give anybody a chance to answer.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Gary. Right, so following on from this, which again, as a scene, has some of the best fucking jokes ever. Yes, we could pull over, wait for them to drive past, and then ram them. I love your balls.
I love your balls.
I mean, we can't say every single joke in the movie, otherwise we will be here for about 6 hours. But this chase scene has some of the absolute best moments, like we touched on already, with the smart ass motherfucker as he's doing the signal out the back, and all that sort of stuff is so funny. He goes, when they've turned around and they're sort of chicken with the vehicles. Surprise, cockfags!
Surprise, cockfags.
Absolutely excellent. They don't pull any punches or whatsoever. I love it.
You really can't say fag anymore, but it's said a lot in this movie.
And I feel like that'll be okay for us to say in the episode, because when we're talking about doing things in a fag way, I'm not talking about homosexuals, our lovely homosexuals out there. Yes, we're talking about how to do things as a film actor, and just to make it easier, a fag.
Do you think they initially were going to call themselves Film Actors Guild, and then they saw fag and were like, screen actors, we're screen actors, we're film actors, screen actors.
I mean, I've always thought
SAG's better.
I've always thought SAG was a bit of a gross one for it as well, like the Screen Actors Guild. Why not just AG, like the Actors Guild?
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
Or maybe there's some weird like middle bit where like stage actors
Yeah,
aren't
they don't
included
want
in that.
stage
Either.
actors. They see themselves as better than theatre.
Oh, tough claim. Is that true?
No, I don't know. I think a lot of actors still do theatre alongside film acting and stuff like that.
Yeah, Ian McKellen went on record fairly recently as saying, "Thank God he still does," because after he did the green screen bonanza that was The Hobbit and stuff, you know, famously he didn't enjoy that. So I imagine being on stage and having that immediate feedback from an audience must be so good. It's like
I mean, it's the purest form of acting there is, really.
Yeah, right.
Because like with film, you're doing sometimes not even a full scene. You're just doing parts of the scene and doing that multiple different times from different angles and things like that. So when you're on stage, you are doing the entire thing from beginning to end. Any mistake is there and is sometimes noticed, sometimes not, but it is pure as fuck.
And then you do it again and again and again. So like your 100th performance is likely to be very different from your first.
Very different, yeah.
Which I really enjoy. So going to see, I actually saw Lord of the Rings the musical, right, when I was younger, which I thought was really funny. I mean, it was really interesting. But at the beginning, they had this setup where sort of the preamble was like some orchestral music happening, and these fireflies, these little firefly effects being dangled, and then slowly more and more hobbits gathered in front of the curtain and were like catching it and stuff. And I was thinking, every night they do that, it must be so fun to do it like differently, to interact with each other slightly differently, because there's no way you could choreograph like 16 hobbits chasing these fireflies, which are apparently just being powered by like gravity, basically. Yeah, how that reiterates over and over again makes stage acting not necessarily more interesting, but certainly fresher than the same take being seen over and over again in a movie.
Especially for the people involved doing it.
Yes, yeah, I bet. So, following on from one of the best scenes in the movie with the destruction of yet another global icon being the Sphinx, where they
saved the day.
The Chechen leader of that terrorist cell goes clarting straight into a Sphinx, blows it up, but Team America once again saved the day, and Gary is saved by a smarter than most Sarah, who manages to whip him out the back of the vehicle in a very cool action movie moment. This leads us on to
one-handed too.
One-handed
grabs him and pulls.
Absolute beast, straight onto the back of a bike in midair.
She has got some strength, that puppet.
She's a badass, man. She's a badass with a badass. So if we go on to the next part, brings us to our boy Kim Jong-il, which one of the best voice acting parts of the last half a century at least. Like, it's so fucking funny the way Trey Parker,
so quotable too.
Oh, so quotable, man. And he's got a translator at the beginning. I think I should shoot my translator.
That poor translator.
Oh, it's very, very funny. I mean, Kim Jong-il, I think, has most of the quotes in like the quotes. You are worthless, Eric Baldwin.
You are worthless, Eric Baldwin. And he sings
so
the song during the credits.
Oh, which song is it?
You are worthless, Eric Baldwin.
Yeah.
You are worthless, Eric Baldwin.
I wonder what Eric Baldwin. Oh, I called him Eric just then. I wonder what Alec Baldwin.
I wonder what Eric Baldwin.
I wonder what he actually thinks of the movie.
So from what I've heard, Alec Baldwin is more than happy with his part in that movie. And I think he said something about his daughter going to college or something in Ireland, and her friends saying "you're worthless, Alec Baldwin" to him, and apparently he loves it. And I feel like you kind of have to have a thick skin if you're gonna do what they're doing. You kind of have to have a bit of a thick skin, which is why it's so funny to me when South Park spoof someone, or when Matt and Trey spoof someone, and people take it so personally.
Yeah.
Matt Damon could have easily taken his role in this very personally, but he didn't. He's gone on record to say he doesn't get it, but he does say that he finds it funny.
No way did he say that. That is perfect.
Yeah,
of course he doesn't get it because he's Matt Damon.
Yeah, but like I think the reason they did that was because like they don't think Matt Damon is fucking retarded or anything.
No,
like
of course,
that, but
yeah.
when they saw the puppet, they said it looks like he's got a mental deficiency.
Yes.
So just that's it. They ran with it. So he's Matt Damon.
Yeah.
And
So in the preliminary script, he apparently did actually have lines, and they removed it
They just
because
removed
of
them
how
all.
stupid he looked as a puppet.
I love that.
That speaks to the reactionary nature of their work, I think. Like South Park, there's that documentary. It's like 5 days turnaround or like whatever.
Oh yeah. Whether
and-
it's going through the production of an episode.
Exactly, yeah, and they start writing on the first day, and it's out by the 6th or 7th day,
Yeah,
and it's
insane work, absolutely
crazy, right?
insane work,
But it allows them to
probably
have that
the
edge.
reason why it's so relevant and
Exactly.
so entertaining.
It allows them to have that edge over other shows and over other writers because it's so on the button every single time. Their work ethic is absolutely unbelievable. But that reactionary nature is so funny because it's so natural. Like, it's not contrived. It's not been sat over and edited and rethought over and over again by either of these people. It's just, this is what I feel about something that's just happened.
Yeah, I think it was Sean Penn who is obviously also lampooned in this movie. I think he's the only one that has come out and talked real shit about the part they gave him in the movie. I think he's the only celebrity that has had a sort of a real negative reaction to it. I'm sure more of them have, but I think he's the only one. Like he straight up wrote a letter and had that sent to them, and also had this letter published about how offended he was by the movie and stuff, which just is pathetic. You need to have a thicker skin than that. You're a celebrity. You're in the public eye. You're gonna have people make fun of you.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, how could someone be in the industry that long and be ostensibly that intelligent and not think that writing this letter is just going to make it so much worse for you?
Yeah.
Like, you have to just move on.
And
It's
then you
like
have
school
people like
bullies.
George Clooney, who are like, hell yeah, do it. Like, I would be offended if I
If you
wasn't.
didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love Sean Penn's quote in this that I've written down. Last year I went to Iraq. Before Team America showed up, it was a happy place. They had flowery meadows and rainbow skies and rivers made of chocolate where the children danced and laughed and played with gumdrop smiles. Which is fucking genius, because it sort of touches on the Islamic Revolution in the 70s. Like, you see pictures of Iran and Afghanistan and other places around the Persian Gulf in the 70s before that revolution, and you do have like sort of westernized clothing, like women being allowed to be out and about, like wearing whatever they wanted, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it, so I don't know the ins and outs of how stringent it was, but it seems fairly obvious that after the Islamic Revolution, it is a completely different place by comparison, much more strict, and somewhat less quality of life for certain types of people in those communities. And I think that's what they're touching on here with Sean Penn, because it's just such hyperbolic version of that. Like, instead of saying like, yes, they could wear what they want and whatever, it's like everyone was made of gold and could fly and live forever. And it's really funny how
it's also more misinformation that the celebrities like to throw at us.
Exactly that. Yeah, it's just making it out to be way better than it actually was, right? And then I don't know, it's very silly. Very, very silly. As actors, the Janine Garofalo one, as actors, it is our responsibility to read the newspapers and then say what we read on television like it's our own opinion.
Yep. And that's a constant. That is just still a constant to this day. You've got it all on like Oprah or Drew Barrymore's show, or just the news. The amount of celebrities you see just talking shit about things.
Why are they even being asked the questions?
I know. It really does wind me up every time I see it.
Like, they'll have like some scientific expert or whatever, but because that expert isn't media trained the way this celebrity is, they just get steamrolled over the whole time. And then a viewer will turn away from that and go like, oh, the experts don't fucking know anything. And then you end up with clusterfucks like COVID. There we are. I mean, I'm not an expert either, but I know that. Like, you need to be cognizant of that to then, recognize when people are actually giving you valuable information. And I'm telling you right fucking now, if that person has been in a soap opera, they're not giving you valid information.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely stupid. And it still happens to this day. You would have thought, with the advent of instant communication, I'm able to talk to you, you're like 20 miles or however far away from me right now.
Jesus.
Yeah, mate, my geography isn't great. I'm not going to lie. But like, you're miles away from me and we're talking instantaneously. You can do that all over the world. I could talk to someone in Iran in 2 seconds if I had any friends that lived in Iran, which, to be fair, I don't. I wish I did. And that makes it much more difficult for governments to dehumanize people. Like, you know, Hitler during World War II was able to dehumanize every enemy of Germany by calling them all these things under the sun, saying they ate children or saying this is what they were going to do to your country. All it takes for you to do now is go, right, live webcam satellite stream Berlin, and you see normal people walking around with a shopping bag just trying to get their groceries together, same as you were the other day. It's much more difficult to dehumanize people. And this is why it's so confusing to me that people still gobble up this misinformation from celebrities as if it has any value whatsoever. Like, you can go out and see what they're saying isn't true.
The only thing that these actors have that is of any value to us is the performances they give, and that's it. Like, just keep giving me movies. That's what you're here for. That's what your job is. That's why you get paid. Stop telling me how to think and feel.
When did the entertainment industry become an important politico? Do you know what I mean? Like, when did that become a thing? It's just very strange. I think it's been done for a long time. Like, like governments or institutions using celebrities as friendly faces, right? Someone that you can relate
no,
to.
it definitely was, because you had like Live Aid in the 80s and all that kind of stuff. And all that kind of stuff really pisses me off as well, because you've got a bunch of rich assholes coming to sing at you to donate money. And it's like, how about you donate it? How about you donate it?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with things like environmental issues like recycling. Like, everyone make sure you put your plastic bottles in the right bin, otherwise we're all gonna fucking die. It's like, well, how about instead of that you get Tesco's to stop using megatons of fuel moving their shit about, or like, oh, whatever.
You just need the celebrities to preach to the people, because we're the ones that have to suffer and do all of this stuff, rather than the actual corporations in the corporation buildings being all corporation-y.
That's the Tim Robbins quote, isn't it, mate? That is so... and then like they put together how, like, I think the end of the quote, he just goes, and then they're all corporation-y and they make money. He just leaves it there. And it's so perfect. But it is just a friendly face for them to put a message on, and they'll make money off of it. And I get it. Like, as a marketing strategy, you need a relatable face, someone people recognize. But just dissect the logic of that for 1 second. Like, think about why you know this face, and then compare that to why you're talking or why you're listening to them right now. Like, I've seen this guy, do a concert that absolutely blew my mind, and now I'm gonna let him tell me who my enemy is.
Yeah,
insane, absolutely insane, and I don't understand it whatsoever.
Which is why I love people like Bruce Campbell, and why there's a picture of him on my wall, because he's never said any shit like that. He just wants to talk about the movies he's making and be a funny guy. And that's all you need. Him,
Kurt Russell, kind of similar, as you said, in that thing. One of them more recently that I quite enjoy is Jack Quaid, as much as he was in on the whole Imagine thing, I think. But he does really, because he's a massive Nepo baby, right? Like, he is Dennis Quaid and the other one, his wife, I say Nepo baby, I didn't mean that negatively, but it is, you are in the industry from day one, so Nepo baby. I love him to absolute pieces, because he just kind of wanders about not saying anything, just being a huge nerd and kicking ass in The Boys. I think he's fucking brilliant in that. And we need more people like that, like realizing that you are in the entertainment industry, not in the kingdom industry. Education industry, exactly, right? When fucking education is so vital to the future of any country or any society, and how they're being raised on the fucking facts that are being thrown around by these celebrities. It's just nuts. And that is 100% what the end of this movie is lampooning, the fag way, how to behave like a fucking fag. And again, I don't mean gay people, I mean the Film Actors Guild. God damn it, dude. I'm getting heated. I'm getting angry.
I can see,
Right, so Team America leads back to this first scene with Kim Jong-il, who shoots his translator in the head. No, sorry, that's earlier on. This part is the Hans Blix inspection. Hans Blix? Oh, no!
No, I don't have any weapons of mass destruction, okay, Hans?
Okay, Hans, I told you already.
Through this.
That's so funny. So Hans Blix, as far as I'm aware, is a real character. He's a real person.
Yeah, real dude.
Right, so he was inspecting places?
So,
what do you know about him?
I know absolutely sweet fuck all about Hans Bricks, other than the fact that he was a real person, he existed, and they used him in Team America.
I believe his real name is Hans Blix. I believe
Hans Bricks.
I think his real name is
know the
Hans
guy.
Blix, but for the longest time I knew him as Hans Bricks because of this movie.
Yeah, I know him because of this movie, and that's about it. But he's got to be something to do with the UN, isn't he? But obviously, he's there searching North Korea for proof of weapons of mass destruction.
Yes, which is hilarious on the back of the invasion of Iraq and stuff, on the premise of weapons of mass destruction as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's such a point at George Bush and Tony Blair doing everything they can to find weapons of mass destruction and then up in there, which is so funny. We should take a second just to say, like, yeah, we get angry about points and we talk about shit like that, but my opinion could change tomorrow. And also, I know sweet fuck all about what to do about any of this situation. So please don't come at me saying, like, what would your solution be? Because my solution would be to have a pint and wait for it all to blow over. As is pointed out.
Shaun of the Dead way.
Exactly, the Shaun of the Dead method. Exactly. So
I just like movies and talking about shit, so I've got no answers.
Exactly. But the thing is that, you know, movies touch on...
no education.
Yeah, that's fair. Grew up on the streets, motherfucker.
School of Hard Knocks.
Arguably, roughly halfway through the movie in terms of like acts, like things that actually happen, because the latter half of the movie is longer, but it's entwined in the same acts. So take a break from talking about the storyline here. I've got a couple more questions that I want to throw your way. I believe I know what your answers are going to be here, so I'll try and ask the ones that I don't think we've either already covered or I could guess your answer on. Number one, straight out, do you have any particular absolute favourite character and why? As in, could be just because of the way they're portrayed or what their character is like in the context of the story, or, yeah, who would your favourite be?
I mean, other than Spotswood, it is Kim Jong-il. I love... Matt and Trey have this great way of taking a villain and making them almost likable in a way.
100%.
Not necessarily likable, but understandable. Like they do it in the South Park movie with Satan of all people.
Yeah.
In this one with Kim Jong-un. I think if you give a villain character a sad song to sing, you're gonna make me kind of like them in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kim Jong-un is a brilliant character in this.
So this is Kim Jong-il in this, and it
Kim
is
Jong-il, yeah, that's
yeah,
it,
yeah.
sorry,
No,
yeah,
his son is that. And Ronri is one of the fucking best songs ever, let alone in this movie.
And it didn't get nominated for an Oscar.
Insane, innit? Absolutely insane.
Absolutely crazy. It would have been well deserved.
Poor riddle me. And he's literally saying that while he's like walking through a
riddle
grand
Ronri.
hallway. A riddle Ronri. Did you notice that when he's walking down the stairs and there's the statue of him with his arm out, that is a human being. That is a real human being.
I didn't
living
notice
statue.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
I haven't had it confirmed, but looking at it, you can sort of see like slight moving. I think it's a real person.
I mean, I could believe that. That would make sense. The scale of the puppets, that would make sense.
So crazy.
We sort of moved past the freedom isn't free scene.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That is so funny.
You've got the puppet standing at actual landmarks, and you can see the size of him. Like it's a brilliant scene. And surely for the scale of it.
Yeah, in terms how that shot is so funny. He goes up to the Lincoln Monument. Yeah. He goes up to the Lincoln Monument and, you know, that massive sort of water feature in front of the George Washington Monument as well. And he's this tiny little puppet. Oh, it's so funny. And it's freedom costs $1.05. It's freedom isn't free. It costs folks like you and me. And that, again, actually, thinking about it, just to zoom out from that, it's a perfect example of what we were just saying. Like those sort of freedom and protest songs that America absolutely loves.
Yeah, especially after 9/11.
What is that musician actually saying? They're saying you do something and you know that's the only way to fix it. And thank God you're listening to this song, your purchase of which just went straight into mine and my manager's pocket.
Yeah.
You know, but thank God you're doing something about freedom here. Like, there's a musician called Steve Wilson from a band called Porcupine Tree. And on his own solo stuff, he has a song called The Sound of Muzak. Like fake, like elevator music, right?
Yeah.
And he's got this one line, which I hope I don't butcher, but it goes, like listening to anthems that make you want to rage, but they were written by billionaires that are nearly twice your age. And it's like that song, Freedom Isn't Free, is so emblematic of that, you know.
Yeah. It's all manipulation.
No, 100%. And that is essentially what 70% of this movie is all about. And it's, wow, I just love it so much. So Spotswood and King Jong-il, you're saying about making it a likable character. I think what's likable about King Jong-il in this is that he just looks absolutely hilarious. He's so jowly and the movements are so emotive in his face.
And he looks so accurate. You know exactly who it is. You know exactly who it is from the moment he's on screen.
Yeah, 100%. He looks exactly like the real life character that ate the sun and drank the sky, or whatever they called it. I don't fucking remember.
Yeah, he cannot die.
Yeah, he cannot die.
Tell that to 2011 because he's fucking dead now.
Yeah, well, there we go. So, instead of favorite character, do you have a favorite scene or gag from the movie at all?
Yes, I do. Favorite gag is in my favorite scene. My favorite scene is the end of an act. So it is the Pearl Harbor sucked scene, and
I miss you.
Incredible. Yeah. That song is incredible. That scene is incredible. But my favorite gag is the camera zooming in at him on the bike and hitting him and knocking him over. It's such a simple gag that would not be in any other movie like this unless it was made by Matt Stone and Trey Parker. Because that was probably a mistake. That the cinematographer did, and they were like, leave it in. We love that. That's hysterical.
It is very funny. And it's the only fourth wall break of the movie, as far as I'm aware. Because, I mean, other than, you know, the whole fourth wall just being absolutely demolished by this entire movie, generally by everyone being puppets. Like, at what point does it actually acknowledge itself being a movie?
Yeah.
Other than that one gag. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
It is very, very funny.
Yeah, that's always, and that's a joke that has never left my head, and yet I will still laugh every time I see it. It's just something so ridiculously absurd about that I love it.
Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, I think so. My favorite character is I would say Spotswood, and one of my favorite gags is also Spotswood, and it's a blink and you miss it moment. Because he's just like yelling at them, trying to get the mission done. It's during that chase scene in Cairo, and it like goes to him, and he's going from left to right on the chair in front of intelligence the whole time. And then just for one scene, he's upside down going across the ceiling. It's just never questioned. He just goes flying from right to left, upside down. Oh, he's absolutely fantastic.
I do love a good visual gag like that.
Yeah, they're my favourites, man, because they're the ones that
That's
still get you.
That's the whole point in film. You need to have visual gags. You're a visual medium. There's got to be visual gags.
Yeah, totally agree.
There's so many movies, especially nowadays, a lot of comedy movies that I watch, and it's like that could have been on the radio, and I would have had the same amount of laughs.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't need to spend 90 minutes sitting down watching it. I could have been listening to it and had the same effect. Whereas I need a movie to be visually funny as well as audibly funny.
Yeah, it has the quality of having that third dimension, and it also adds another dimension of timing, because obviously timing is everything in comedy, and there's something about the speed of that chase with the quick Michael Bay camera angles, and the fact that they used real explosions in this movie, as well, is nuts. Like the fact that they used real fire and real explosions to just fucking fuck shit up, and then suddenly he's going from right to left attached to the ceiling, and there's no explanation for it. Like the timing of that is superb.
Yeah, and the behind the scenes, they were talking about using the real explosions and stuff like that, and saying, you know, it's all gonna be in camera, no sort of post special effects, no CGI and stuff like that. And it's like, this is 2004, and they're talking about not wanting to use CGI because they know that it loses something with CGI. And fast forward to now, or like you have the cinematographer who's doing it because he's tired of working on green screens. It's like fast forward to now, and most movies are filmed on a soundstage with a lot of green screen and a lot of CG and stuff like that. And this is 2004, and they're already talking about kind of being tired of it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. A great example of that is Lord of the Rings versus The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
Like, I absolutely love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. One of my favorites of all time. Absolute Tolkien stan myself. Absolute Peter Jackson stan. And then The Hobbit just falls flat in comparison because so much of it is this glistening CGI. You don't have those beautiful Alan Lee paintings and then the actual forefront of the New Zealand countryside, which is that combination is insane.
In the use of bigatures and all that kind
Oh
of
my
stuff.
God,
The
yeah.
scale in The Lord of the Rings is absolutely incredible and insane, and you can see the years worth of work that they put into it before they even started filming, before they even started rolling cameras. They had worked on the movie for like a good 2-3 years, and you can see it in every moment of that movie.
Yeah.
Not in The Hobbit.
Nope,
Not
at
in
all.
The Hobbit, you can't.
No disrespect to Guillermo del Toro, but I think his approach to it, or whoever the showrunner made that decision, no disrespect to them doing their jobs or whatever.
It would have been Jackson.
Well, wasn't Del Toro attached to the project before Jackson?
Yeah, Del Toro was originally. Yeah, you're right. So Peter Jackson would have come in late, so he wouldn't have been able to put in the amount of prep work beforehand. But he probably also wouldn't have been allowed to at that point, just because of the amount of money and effort and time that went into the Lord of the Rings. Even though it paid off for them, companies still don't want to do it. They don't want to put that level of effort into something to get returns that they could get with putting in half the effort.
Yeah, I think there's less incentive to.
Sucks.
There's almost less incentive to after it succeeded the first time as well, because they're like, well, if you just take away the care of quality, the brand is going to sell itself anyway. Like whether or not it's as good as the original trilogy, and it was more aimed at children, so I guess the CGI thing. I don't know. It really really pissed me off.
Yeah, and the decision to make
into 3
2 frames a second or something.
Oh,
like
was
that.
it? Oh,
Not
yes.
even that, but yeah, no, it's
right.
upped frames, so it moves faster than it should, and that's also a really strange decision that I don't understand why they did, and is really noticeably kind of bad. Like it just doesn't look like a good movie, unfortunately, in comparison to what came out a good 15 years before.
Yeah, I'm sure we will do an episode on The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit at some point.
100%.
But I feel like
going to be able to do a movie podcast and not talk about The Lord of the Rings at length.
Exactly. We will probably sort of put that all into one longer episode rather than doing each movie individually. But because I mean that's another one we can do from memory.
Movies deserve an episode alone. Like Fellowship of the Ring deserves its own episode. Two Towers deserves its own episode.
All right. Well, I mean,
Hobbit movies, maybe we could do that in one if we choose to do.
Like it was supposed to do, like it was supposed to be originally. It's one book, bro. Fucking, oh man, whatever. But yeah, I mean,
if they had said that they were going to make it into 2 movies, I'd understand that. But 3 movies for the Hobbit, crazy. It makes no sense.
Craziness.
We're way off topic now. But yeah, fuck the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Fuck movies.
Anyway, my final word on that is fuck the Hobbit.
There is an edit out there that is all 3 movies into one, and I did see that, and it's a better experience. It's more enjoyable, I think. It still doesn't make it good, but it's a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I would have thought that you might want to amalgamate those into one episode, but I have nothing against doing individual episodes for all 3 of those.
Those movies are like 4 hours a piece. They deserve their own episode.
Yeah, wicked. Nice. Right, so did I have any more questions for this part? To be honest, mate, you're doing really well at just answering the questions before I even fucking ask them. Like, Team America is packed with ridiculous yet well-produced songs. Which one is your favourite? You've already answered that.
Harbor sucks.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor sucks, but every as it is with Trey Parker, every song he writes is incredible.
He's
and
so funny.
I love good spoof music. Like I'm a big Flight of the Conchords fan.
Me too.
Because all of their music is so brilliantly written, and if it wasn't funny, they would still be good songs. And I feel that about everything that Trey Parker writes as well. Even if it wasn't funny, they would still be good songs. Freedom Isn't Free. I could imagine that actually being played on the radio.
100%, and I could imagine the entire Bible Belt not getting it as well. Like it would just go right over their heads. It's like in South Park they have "Where were you when they built that ladder to heaven?" And he repurposes it to "Where were you? 9/11." So good. Yeah, I would say it's hard for me to pick a favorite song because I love them so much. Like I'm, for anyone watching, I am sort of more musically minded than film minded, I would say. I've certainly worked in music a lot longer than I've worked with or around
you're
film.
in a band. I'm not.
Shout out Soulcura, Spotify right now. I really need the money. Can someone please go stream that shit?
They are actually a pretty good band too. I hate to admit it.
I hate to admit it.
I love telling my friends when their stuff sucks, but yeah, I can't tell him that his stuff sucks. Unfortunately, I do.
I mean, you can.
Can't do it honestly.
You are allowed to. You are allowed to. That's fine. I think I love the montage song so much because of the line "Even Rocky had a montage" as well, as in saying "even Rocky," as in like that's the worst movie of all time. Like even Rocky had a montage.
Having just gone through all of the Rocky movies maybe a week ago, I watched like all of them because I'm getting into boxing, and those movies are fantastic. But Rocky 1 is fantastic, and that montage is so good.
Yeah, I agree. It's just cheesy as hell, and I think that's what they're poking fun at, which is really, really funny.
I wish I had more time from watching it, because watching that scene last night, I remember thinking, I'm sure South Park used that song, Like, I feel like there's an episode of South Park.
Gonna need a montage. Yeah, maybe.
America, but I'm not 100% on that, and I should have looked it up before the episode.
Well, I mean, if it's theirs, then why the fuck not? They may well have just slightly repurposed it. Like Freedom Isn't Free is very similar to Where Were You? And like we were just talking about, like that Ladder to Heaven one, like it's a very similar vibe. It could be something like that. I think Montage is possibly my favorite song, but I do love the Pearl Harbor Sucked ending when he goes.
Yeah, Montage was used in the season 6 episode Aspen.
Oh, okay. So, about the ski trip. When she takes her boobs out and they're like dying.
When he's
he gets pulled into that rivalry or whatever.
I forget what that character's name is, but that's a great episode.
That's funny.
That had the montage in it.
God, well spotted, mate.
I
Good
think
brain.
That would have come out before 2004, but I'm sure I remembered that.
Fair play. God damn. Yeah, I would never have remembered that, but now I remember the episode.
South Park fanboy, dude. I've been watching it since I was way too young.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. I think just to answer the question, I think my favorite song is Montage, and I think my favorite line isn't from Montage. It's at the end of the Pearl Harbor song, whatever they call that, because he goes, I guess what I'm trying to say is Pearl Harbor sucked slightly less than I miss you.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more than I miss you.
It's just the sheer hatred that song has for Michael Bay and Ben Affleck, and I like Ben Affleck. I love Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
I think he's great, but that song savages him. It really loves Cuba Gooding Jr. We're same. I also love Cuba Gooding Jr.
That is so funny. But then, so what we've just said, an interesting point about loving these actors. We love them in their role as entertainers. Not as a messiah, not as a fucking carver of commandments. Do you know what I mean? Like
there is nothing Cuba Gooding Jr. could say to me that would make me change my opinion on absolutely anything realistically.
No, exactly.
Unless he made some really good fucking points. That's it.
And there are examples of people in the entertainment industry becoming strong political, but like Ronald Reagan, very famously, one of the most
the actor.
Yeah, exactly, right. But he had a long term as president, and whatever your opinions on that, it was relatively economically successful. So we're not saying that just because you're an actor that disqualifies you from being able to do these things, but not all of you. Fucking what are you all opening your mouth for? It's just a joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I did say that was the last question, but it kind of like melds with the second half of this question, which is the dialogue in this movie is so ridiculously quotable from start to finish. Do you have one quote that just sticks out in your mind the whole time?
It is probably what your friend's ringtone was, just the darker, darker, darker. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It is so stupid.
I told you at the beginning that it was the 9/11 times 2,000 or 20,700 and whatever nobody does quote, right? Because obviously it's just maths. Someone out there does know the answer to that. But after watching it, I do have a different one, which is such a simple thing from Lisa. She goes, Gary, you didn't kill your brother. those gorillas did.
Oh.
Which is like she's trying to be nice and she's trying to calm him down. It's just, no, those gorillas killed your brother. Remember, it wasn't you. So good.
I love the way he instantly lies to her because she promises sex if he does.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I couldn't promise you that. I'd have sex with you right now if you did. I promise I will never die.
Which is another great part of like the puppets being so emotive, because his eyes go from like normal like size, like lids slightly down, to just wide open.
Yeah.
I promise I will never die. It's so funny.
He's excited about getting laid.
Not 100%. I would have promised anything in that moment. Are you kidding me?
Me too.
Which brings us very nicely on to the infamous puppet sex scene, which apparently is cut down from the original because it gave it too high a rating.
Yeah, so it would have become an NC-17.
Oh my god.
Which quite famously, less people can go see.
That is absolutely insane. How could it be longer than the minute and a half that it is already, and the stuff that they're doing to each other?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you said something before we started that made me think. I can't remember what it was that you said, but no, you saying, I think you said you didn't remember the sex scene being sort of as bad as it was. I kind of remembered it being a little bit worse. Like I vividly remember there being a moment where he shits on her. But that didn't happen in the version I watched last night. So maybe I completely made that up. Maybe a Mandela affected scat, but like,
maybe.
I vividly remembered him shitting on her at one point.
Maybe you were watching that movie and you had another tab open on like essenmeinscheiser.com or something.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Yeah, man.
Is it Cartman's mom?
One thing I didn't...
Dude, it is Cartman's mom.
Mom, you'd tell me if you were in a German Scheiser movie, right? Yes, dear.
Sure, hon.
Good night. I didn't remember seeing as much puppet titty as you do in that, and the different positions, like he's got a like jackhammer down on the floor and all that kind of stuff. It's so fucking funny, man. It is absolutely degenerate.
And the way the camera's in close enough that there's certain parts of the puppet that you can't see, so you know that there's just like Trey Parker's there going
like that. Yeah.
That's it. It was me playing with my toys as a kid.
Yes, exactly, right? Like that is links perfectly to what I'm about to say, which I think this scene more than any other shows why this film is such a joy to watch, and it's because they just had fun doing it. Like, I get that it was difficult. I get working with the puppets and stuff was really, really hard. As a medium, it's pretty famously really difficult to pull off, especially to make it funny.
I wouldn't do it.
Fuck that.
I can do it.
Like, exponentially larger budget and longer production time and all that kind of stuff. But this scene shows more than any other how much fun they must have been having, because I can't imagine what they cut if that is what made it into the fucking movie. And they're just throwing these toys at each other. It's the same with the karate scenes, like you're saying. Like it just looks like two guys having the most fun of their lives and making something really beautiful out of it.
Really beautiful.
The movie, not this scene.
But is the movie really
I think so. I think so. I think the way it tears down everyone is beautiful to me. It's beautiful in the way that a building on fire is beautiful. Like, yes, it's terrible, but holy shit, look at that. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Fucking hell. Oh. Cut that. Right, so yeah, that's fair. There's a few things to edit out here as soon as I figure out how exactly I'm going to do that. Or just literally, this is where I've pressed the streaming rather than recording button on OBS. So following the romantic sex scene, as it were, which actually is just pure porno, we end up getting a bit of exposition from our boy Chris, one of my favourite members of the team, and who it turns out he hates actors because when he was younger, he was invited backstage to a production of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats, and he was raped by Mr. Mistopheles. Which on itself, again, disclaimer, is not fucking funny, but it is when it's a puppet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's properly funny.
A puppet talking seriously about being sexually assaulted by, I think, was it... It's Mr.
It's Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah. I was going to say Rum Tum Tugger.
Oh no, dude, he wouldn't have lived to tell the tale. No, he got raped by Mr. Mistopheles, and they really keyed in on something about the human psyche with comedy in this, in that it wouldn't be funny if a friend of mine was telling me about this traumatic experience, but you have a 3-inch puppet made of clay telling you about something terrible that happened in their childhood. That is just funny. It is just naturally funny.
How serious it is.
Yeah.
And how serious everything they say is, really. How serious they take everything is sort of what makes it funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because naturally, it's not funny to be raped by an actor behind the backstage of the show that you just saw.
Yeah, one of the most...
In the context of this movie, and it being the reason that he's hated Gary from the start.
The misdirected hatred, as if Gary had anything to do with it. It's so funny. It's that thing. It's that something that is so...
And the way he
so
tells
awful.
the story just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, just out of nowhere. I think, like, they're just about to get back down to business and save the day from terrorists. And he's like, when I was 5 or whatever. It's just goes straight into it. And
They do that
out of nowhere for no reason.
But they do that a lot in this movie, like when they're flying around and she's like, oh, they snuck up on us. And then Lisa takes that moment to go, there's a lot of that going around, isn't there? Like, as if that's the appropriate time to have that conversation. Or they're stood in Cairo and Chris goes to the other guy, just goes to him like, when are you going to tell her how you really feel? Like, they've got like guns in their hands. And it's so good. Oh, it's so funny. So he starts talking to him about the actor-related trauma and why he hates actors and all that sort of stuff. And it's very funny. It's a bonding moment for those two because it allows them to sort of cross that bridge, get through that obstacle between them both.
And if there's a world left at the end of all this, I'd like to buy you a drink.
I'd like to buy you a drink, which is the action hero vibe that I love of this character. He's one of the best. My favorite is Spotswood, as I said, but Chris is a close second. He is a very funny character. Following this, after yet another failed Team America operation, which failure and success seem to be very, very similar colours to these guys, where even more civilians die. Gary quits Team America out of guilt, and my God, does the soundtrack?
Good job acting.
Yeah, his acting just wasn't good enough. His acting got 1,000 people killed, and this is the perfect moment to just point out, like, how much heavy lifting the soundtrack of this movie does. Not necessarily the feature songs, but also the orchestral moments and just the way it builds tension and builds mood. When he goes to the bar and he's drinking his sorrows away because he's so guilty about everything that happened.
And you get the motif of freedom isn't free again.
Exactly.
On the jukebox.
Exactly. It's turning that into diegetic. I think that's the word. Diegetic music is just fantastically funny.
Well, I think it starts out as diegetic anyway, because isn't it a song that's playing when he's in the limo on the way back? Yeah,
and he's like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen."
Yeah, and that's when he's like, let's take a detour or something like that, and he starts looking at all of the monuments as the song goes into non-diegetic.
You're right.
Yeah.
So that's such a funny, like, just the way he says that line as well. Like, "Hey, Baxter, let's take a detour."
Yeah.
So dramatic.
Baxter says nothing, just looks and...
it's so
Baxter's
funny.
an underrated character.
Oh, for sure.
We all need a Baxter in our lives.
I wish I had a Baxter in my life. I wish I had a flying limo in my life, and I wish I could see a man eat his own head. This film brings so many things.
Then I could say I've seen everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, neither have we. So yeah, he goes to this bar and he starts feeling guilty for himself. I think he sees some shit on the TV or something. Some guy comes up to him and goes, "Hey, you're that actor, right?"
Hey, do that scene where everybody gets AIDS.
Do that scene where, "Hey, back off!" He just like pushes him away. He's all upset, and then he gets some actually pretty solid advice from a hobo drunk about dicks, fucking pussies, and fucking assholes. Where is this speech? I did have it written down. Yeah, okay, so this is the speech, right? Hopefully verbatim, if IMDb is doing me any favors. See, there's 3 kinds of people: dicks, pussies, and assholes. Pussies think everyone can get along. And dicks just want to fuck all the time without thinking it through. And then you've got your assholes, Chuck. And all the assholes want us to shit all over everything. So pussies may get mad at dicks once in a while because pussies get fucked by dicks. But dicks also fuck assholes, Chuck. And if they didn't fuck the assholes, you know what you'd get? You'd get your dick and your pussy all covered in shit. Which is so fucking funny because, like, you can totally see what they're trying to say. They're trying to bridge the gap. Well, I think my interpretation is they're trying to bridge the gap between your left and your right leaning things, and just like to meet in the middle. That you need a bit of both. I think the pussies being your liberal left, your right being your dicks, and then the assholes are the ones trying to fuck everything else up. And it is so on point. It's one of my favorite moments.
See, I have a different reading of that. I read it that gay people are doing us all a service.
By keeping everyone's shit nice.
Otherwise, our dicks would be all covered in shit right now, but they're taking one for the team.
That is excellent. In terms of drunk sort of barstool philosophy,
I would love that guy to come over and give me some advice, dude.
Oh my god, it's
I would spend all night chatting to that guy.
As much as it is a joke, it's the sort of thing that, like, I don't know who wrote it between anyone on the team, but it is genuinely so profound. Underneath the ridiculous vulgarity of it, it is so profound.
And that is just the perfect encapsulation of what Trey Parker and Matt Stone are. They are just the absolute ridiculousness and immaturity that they have, but also making really good, poignant points a lot of the time. Like, just genuinely brilliant stuff, along with how fucking ridiculously immature it is. And that's always why I've really appreciated them so much, because it is so genuinely stupid, but also really genius a lot of the time.
Yeah, it really is. And I think to get to that level of immaturity and have it be funny rather than childish, you have to be sharp as a whip. You know, you wouldn't be able to pull it off. If you were just an idiot just trying to write fart jokes, you wouldn't get it. And I think they've gone on record as saying that's where Terrence and Phillip came from, because they were like, some review for an early South Park season was like, oh, it's just dick and fart jokes. And they were like, no, this is dick and fart jokes. And they did a Terrence and Phillip clip. So yeah, these guys are just absolutely brilliant. And in terms of barstool philosophy, right on the money. And leading back to what I was saying about the soundtrack, our hero, Gary, ends up going outside, far too drunk, feeling very sick, and just vomits in the street. And with each time he vomits, the music crescendos just over and over again.
The music build is incredible. Like, he starts being sick for a minute, and then
it's phenomenal.
The music swells beautifully
every single time. You think it can't get any louder, or like the pitch can't get any higher. Like, you've got clearly like a 30-piece orchestra putting this all together, and it's got like timpanis and massive cymbals for this moment, which is just a puppet launching vomit out of his mouth into the street. And then there's the woman in the window. You gave up on life, didn't you? Get out the street, you fucking bum. You gave up on life, didn't you? It's so funny. Oh,
Lisa!
Man, oh, dude, I think it's
just a puppet bit. It's just a puppet vomiting, and
it's so funny because it comes out with such velocity as well. It's like a jet
there's
engine.
So much of it. It doesn't stop. The scene just keeps on going.
When it does finally end, and you see the picture of it, and he's just a pool of it,
and you get the bird's eye shot of just all that massive puddle.
It fills the alleyway, man. It's like literally the biggest thing. Oh, it's so fucking funny. That is one of my favourite scenes, I think. Oh, but this is the problem with asking about favourites, and I should have thought about that before I wrote these kind of questions, is because when I think about the next scene becomes my favourite scene, because it's so funny and it's so well written. Oh, absolute genius.
Pearl Harbor Sucks will remain my favourite scene of the movie.
You're solid on that? You got an anchor in that?
I am solid on that.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Oh, it's very funny.
So I think the next scene would be the team going off on a mission without
him. Wouldn't it? Yes, yeah. So Team America end up going without him, and I believe Spotswood in a previous scene already said that without Gary, they're fucked. Basically, is what he said, because
that's how important actors are.
None of them have the skills
fucked without them.
Yeah, absolutely. We cannot possibly hope to succeed without this actor. And they go off trying to Well, actually, they haven't found. This is the scene where they find out that North Korea is involved. So they're trying to, get a hold of these terrorists, shoot them in action, in situ, and stop them being able to kill anyone else. And they are intercepted by North Korean fighters, shot down and kidnapped. At which point, at the same time, the guy who made Bowling for Columbine bombs Mount Rushmore.
Oh, yes, he does. Yeah. Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, that's the name. Oh, that is so funny. So as all this clusterfuck is happening, there's a massive protest outside Mount Rushmore.
Why they did that?
You're gonna have to explain it to me.
Okay, so did you ever see Bowling for Columbine?
I watched a bit of it a long time ago.
So yeah, he did the documentary about Bowling for Columbine, and he asked Matt Stone to be involved in it for an interview because Matt Stone lived in the area. Or had done it at least. So he did this interview with Matt Stone. He asked them if they would do an animation for it, and they declined it. But they did the interview, and then Michael Moore has right after that interview an animated scene, which just makes it look like Matt Stone and Trey Parker did it, because it's done in sort of a similar animation style to South Park, and it just naturally pissed them off because it seemed manipulative in the way of, like, he didn't explicitly say that they had made it, but by act of having it right after what he said, it made it seem like Matt Stone had made this animation, which naturally just pissed them off. So...
And in video editing, nothing major happens by accident. So
no, it would have definitely been done on purpose, especially having asked them if they would make an animation and them saying no. That's definitely a purposeful thing.
Interesting.
And Michael Moore's quite famous for doing stuff like that. So yeah, they decided to savage him in Team America.
Oh, and what a job they did as well. During that protest, he's covered in mustard. He's got a hot dog in either hand.
Hot dog in.
Bring it all down! Bring it all down! And then he goes up. He somehow makes it into the base where only Spotswood and Intelligence, his computer.
Hey, Team America, I got something for you.
And he blows up the inside of Mount Rushmore, which is a huge moment in the movie because they lose connection with Spotswood. Obviously, Intelligence goes off.
But also, it's a nice moment to show that Matt and Trey don't see terrorism as something that just brown people do.
That is a great fucking point. I didn't even clock that at this point, but he's got the suicide jacket on, and to be honest, you don't actually see that happen with any, Middle Eastern person in this movie. Like, they talk about it. They talk about the things being filled with C4, but none of them are actually wearing bomb jackets. It's only Michael Moore, as far as I'm aware, that ends up wearing one. And that is a great point.
Yeah, the only person that actually does do a suicide bomb terrorism attack is an American.
I love the idea.
That's a nice touch.
It is a nice touch. That is a very nice touch. Well spotted. I think it is absolutely hilarious, the idea that Michael Moore would take it so seriously that he killed himself. Like, he finds America's interjection in foreign policy so detestable that he goes and blows himself up.
Yeah, brilliant stuff.
Oh, it's such a good joke. Where would they even... Oh, it's just fantastic.
And the other thing that I love so much about that is that he doesn't actually succeed in doing anything other than kill himself and destroy the base, because Spotswood's still alive.
Spotswood still survives. And then, so that leads us back to what this scene is. So after that scene of him blowing up, Team America end up getting taken out by the North Koreans and the others that are just referred to as terrorists, but I think they might be Chechens or something. I'm not 100% sure. They get captured and taken to North Korea. Gary makes his way back to the now destroyed base, and Intelligence says, so he asks the computer Intelligence what happened.
Which was also not destroyed in the terrorist attack.
Somehow not destroyed in the terrorist attack. He asks Intelligence what happened, and he goes, "We were attacked by a fat liberal weasel." Which is so funny. He doesn't mention him by name. He just says the base was attacked by a fat liberal weasel. Oh, it's such a good line. Oh man, there's so many quotes in this movie. It's difficult to really land on one that's the best. I always think I know.
Intelligence be like sounding like such a stoner as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that, but I find that quite funny too.
It looks like we were wrong about the WMDs. Bad intelligence. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
There's no I in Team America. Yes, there is. Properly funny. Right, so, yes, Gary returns to the base to find it all destroyed, and the only person he finds still living there is Spotswood, whose tie is now bleached, and they starched, sorry, in an exploded position. It just stays there, which is such a good visual gag. And
This
Spotswood
would have been my favorite part growing up. This would have been the funniest part to me growing up.
So Spotswood does welcome him back, but he says that in order to prove... Yeah, he welcomes him back to Team America, but with a condition, that condition being that they follow through on the threat that Gary thought Spotswood was making at the beginning of the movie, which is to suck my cock. And he fucking does it.
Gay.
Yeah, this
isn't about being gay, Gary.
Yeah. It's a great scene. And Gary does it for a moment. And then not only does he do it, but when Gary then goes and frees Team America again, and they ask Spotswood about him, he goes, no, he's proven his loyalty by sucking
The way
my cock.
they all accept it immediately is incredible. Because I would too. I would too. Really? You sure he's here for the cause? Yeah, he sucked my dick for it. Okay.
Oh,
fair,
yeah, say no more, man. Yeah, absolutely, fair play. Should I?
That's belief right there.
Yeah, right, 100%. Oh, man. I mean, it would... How would you ever top that? Like, how would you ever prove that you're more committed?
A rim job.
It's literally the only way. Literally the only way to do that.
So
The old
if there was
rusty
a
trombone.
sequel and Gary walked away again, that would be his comeback.
Yeah, he comes back and he's like, Spotswood, don't worry, I'll suck your cock again, I'll prove it. And he goes, no, Gary, that's not enough this time. And he just
You've already
slowly...
proven that you could do that once before.
He's
Now we need something that you haven't proved.
He just slowly turns around.
Now lick my ass.
No, chew my asshole, Gary. Oh, that's so funny. So, yes, Gary then infiltrates King Jong-il's amazing palace, which one of the coolest bits of set design in the whole movie is the palace. Not only the dungeons, because the dungeons look so rank, but just the sheer ostentatiousness of this massive palace, which is absolutely hilarious. They don't even comment on the ridiculous gap in like poverty and wealth going on in North Korea during Kim Jong-il's reign, which was insane, and still is to this day.
Yes, still is.
But the fact that you've got like gold banisters and like at the tops of the lamps are all like gilded and all this stuff and massive aquariums on either side is absolutely fantastic. And what follows during their escape scene is one of the coolest action scenes in any movie ever. It's so much fun to watch these puppets absolutely demolish each other.
And they do the classic Kill Bill thing with the new battles without honor and humanity. You know, the do.
Oh, God, yeah.
That thing that was so popular in the early 2000s because of Kill Bill, but it is using the music from a Japanese series of films, which I haven't seen the one that this is from. It's from New Battles Without Honor and Humanity, but I've seen the originals.
I see.
And incredible movies, but I haven't seen the newest ones.
I wasn't aware of where it came from, but yeah, in terms of a soundbite, it is one of the most famous little bits of music for sure. Everyone recognized it.
Really threw that out there, and now it is used in everything to the point you'll hear that in like the X Factor or Britain's Got Talent and things like that.
You see it in adverts for stuff like you know, that sort of shit. And just from
some
your
random Japanese movie,
just from your rendition. You know, I'm not saying you're a terrible singer or anything. It wasn't a great rendition, but it's immediately recognizable.
Perfect.
It doesn't matter if it was, because it was so recognizable.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
exactly what it is.
100%, yeah. And
the slow motion hallway walk.
Exactly that, yeah. And yeah, as I said, it just erupts into this scene of the amount of time it took to get all these puppets together and all that. Can you imagine how satisfying it was just to absolutely destroy them during this scene? And it has some of the best lines in the whole movie as well. So the FAG members arrive to defend Kim, and it leads to a series of absolutely ridiculous puppet deaths. Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon being two of the funniest ones. Tim Robbins on fire, and all he's saying is "woo" just over and over again. It's got this one. I just want to, before we move on from this scene, say another amazing line where I think it's Chris and Gary end up in a room with Susan Sarandon tied to a chair. And she goes, "Help me, they've captured me. Like, I'm trying to be safe. They're trying to be terrorists or whatever." And Gary just goes,
me up because I wouldn't go along with their plans.
"Yeah, that's the one." It's either Gary or Chris just goes, "Sorry, Miss Sarandon, your acting skills have faded with age." And she goes, "You will die a peasant's death."
You will die a peasant's death. And she whips out the gun.
That is the most metal fucking thing. You will die a peasant's death. Oh, it's so fun.
I can imagine Susan Sarandon saying it too.
I'm sure she has. 100% she said that to like a maid or something that didn't clean her plate properly or some shit like that. You will die a peasant's death. It just blows her head off with a shotgun.
I doubt Susan Sarandon is that cruel. I like Susan Sarandon.
I don't think Susan Sarandon's a human being. I reckon she's being puppeted by a cockroach. I reckon that's actually the whole moral of this story, is that all of them aren't real people.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, no argument here. Yeah, they're all
gold. I can't argue against it. Matt and Trey probably know them better than I could, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, insider knowledge. I wonder if they were ever at any Diddy parties.
Who, Matt and Trey?
No. Well, actually, I don't know about Matt and Trey. I mean, I'm saying no as if they're like my best mates. It's just because I'm a fan of them. No, I mean like these any of these celebrities that they're lampooning throughout. Like, obviously it's 2004, so how well known the degeneracy of those parties was, I'm unsure.
They weren't at a Diddy party. They were at an Epstein party.
Oof. Ain't no party like an Epstein party. It makes you wonder what the S in S Club actually stood for.
Don't stop until it kills itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So that basically leads us to the end of the movie. Like, it's the action scenes from now until they succeed against Kim Jong-il, who is mortally wounded and turns out to be a robotic suit.
I had completely forgotten about this moment. And it did completely catch me off guard last night.
Because it's so ridiculous.
I should have remembered this. And there's no foreshadowing or anything like that. It's just so out of nowhere. Your dying Kim Jong-un reveals itself to be a bug alien that gets into a spaceship and shoots itself off. And it's like, I'll be back, Team America, or some shit like that.
It's the tiny little spaceship set up. Like, why was it set up? First of all, like, if he thought he was going to succeed, why was it even there? And it's this tiny little cockroach spaceship that you just don't see at all. Nobody spotted it. Nobody did anything about it. And a little cockroach just crawls out. It's like out of his mouth or something. Like, oh, dude, it's so fucking funny. Yeah, one of the best endings in a movie ever.
Planet Krylock, I believe.
Krylock, oh, genius. Team America saves the world and learns an absurdly crude moral about freedom. Lisa and Gary affirm their love, so they end up boinking once again and loving it. And the movie ends with one last over-the-top explosion and America! Fuck yeah! Which, I mean, I know that this has been tangential as fuck. Go and watch the movie if you haven't seen it already. It is, I think one of the funniest movies.
Anybody out there that's gonna see this movie that hasn't already seen this movie?
Well, there's new generations, and I would hope that whilst these celebrities that are being completely lampooned in this are around, I hope that new generations continue to watch this and learn to temper their respect for these messianical fucking people. And now we've got to the end of it, and we've sort of talked about how these actors are portrayed. The point I was trying to make before, without saying it word for word, is that these people are bought and paid for. They don't have their own opinions, or if they do have their own opinions, they're not voicing those opinions to you.
Yeah, they are not giving you their actual opinions.
Because they need their sponsorships, they need to pay rent, they need heating in their houses, same as everyone else. And the way that they do that is by representing someone else's agenda.
Yep.
So that's it. I think that is basically
advertisers.
Exactly right. They are billboards. They are walking fucking billboards. And fine as humans, we're all people. We all have similar struggles and shit like that, and we all feel pain, I think. But this movie just ties it up in a neat little bun about why the entertainment industry is not a fucking lifestyle management, metric. Don't follow the words of these people as if it's scripture, because it's fucking not.
Just watch their movies, and that's it.
Yeah, and make decisions based on what you see outside and what you think is right and wrong, not what you've fucking been told was right and wrong by Susan Sarandon. I don't actually hate Susan Sarandon. It sounds like I really
far from
do.
hate Susan Sarandon. She was, that's Janet. I love her.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, of course.
Rocky Horror.
Yeah. Oh man, I need to go see that live. It's being played in the Wyvern at the moment.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
Yes.
no, definitely. If you've never seen Rocky Horror on stage, you should definitely go do
never
that.
have.
It's a hell of an experience.
I absolutely love the movie. I feel like we're gonna have to do an episode on that because Tim
Oh,
Curry.
we will do an episode
Oh my
of
goodness.
Rocky Horror at some point for sure.
Amazing. So just to round this off, I reckon just the last few questions I had for you, and then we can talk about what we're going to do on the next episode, and any plans we want to fucking make public immediately. So we covered this at the beginning, just to bring it back all the way around. The movie came out in 2004, Denver Film Festival, then was released publicly, I think in 2005, maybe at the end of 2004. Do you still think it could be made today, like we said at the beginning of the podcast? And do you think it would be more or less controversial on the media stage if it came out today?
Would be more controversial today, I think, but I do think that it could still be made. I don't subscribe to the idea that a lot of people seem to have that, like, oh, you couldn't make this movie today. I think you could make just about any movie today if you really wanted to, and you wanted to put the effort in. I just think a lot of people don't want to now because they know that a lot of the audience isn't the same as it was back then. So while back then Team America definitely had an audience, it still has an audience now. I think that the audience is a fair bit smaller nowadays. I think there's a lot of people that would get very quickly offended by this movie and completely write it off because nobody likes to be offended, but there's nothing wrong with being offended.
No, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with something being offensive, especially when it's just a silly comedy movie about puppets. I definitely think this movie could still be made. I just don't think it would do as well as it did.
There's some overlap with that opinion Robert Downey Jr. had about Tropic Thunder on his Joe Rogan interview. Don't know if you've seen that, but Joe Rogan just basically says, like, Tropic Thunder, ridiculous with the blackface and the simple Jack and all that. Do you think you could make it again today? And Robert Downey Jr. just goes, oh, you could make it. No, it just leaves it at that. So the point is not whether or not you could make it from an artistic point of view. It's whether or not the studios would do anything with it, would take that risk, I think. Yeah. So it looks like I did actually make a note on it. So Parker and Stone said they would never do a puppet movie again. Do you wish that they would?
No, I don't think so. They've done it. I don't think that there are any sort of gags that they left out that they could do for a sequel. You could definitely make a sequel to this movie. You could definitely do a follow-up, but I don't think it would be necessary. And I'm more than happy with them doing exactly whatever it is that they want to do, be that more South Park, be it this Kendrick Lamar movie they've got that's supposed to be coming out, I think, this year or next year. Whether they want to make more musicals or anything like that. I just want them to keep making shit. I just want them to make more and more. Just keep doing it. Make more music, damn it. Please make more music. I love them. They're incredible.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on that. I don't care for a sequel to Team America because I don't think it needs one.
No.
But I kind of find all of their stuff to be spiritual successes of what they made previously anyway. Like, even though they're not connected in stories, they are developments of that humor, and they are always so culturally relevant that it feels like they're successors to each other. I love that. So
I think any joke that they may have missed out, they're just going to put into a South Park episode or something like that. Like they've said a few times that they like a joke that they wanted to have on Orgasmo was having a cop sort of get involved and not reveal himself to be a cop until it was kind of a little bit too late, which they ended up doing in the South Park episode. Butter's Bottom Bitch, where
when he's a pimp. Oh mate, that is such a good episode.
Keeps on going undercover.
And he has like marries him and like
so please, mate.
This is a sting, motherfucker. Yeah, it's so funny.
So any joke that they missed, they can and will just do in South Park anyway. So
that's totally valid.
I'm fine with there not being a sequel to this. You don't need it.
Totally valid.
I do think if they made a sequel, I would definitely be going to see it.
Oh, I'd be there. I'd be there day one.
See more celebrities to get savaged,
yeah,
especially modern celebrities.
100%.
Nice.
Can you imagine the people they'd? Oh, that's a great question that I didn't write. Like, if it was released today, name like 4 or 5 celebrities that you think would be on that roster of the fag way.
Oh man.
Name
That's
5 actors that would be fags.
Jennifer
I'm not.
Lawrence.
Ooh.
I think Jennifer Lawrence would be on there.
Because do you think that's because she's so vocal about like cultural issues and
Yeah,
social issues?
I think it is because she's so vocal, and also because she was very sort of friendly with Harvey Weinstein, despite all of the stuff that happened. I think
Ooh.
that she would get lampooned.
Valid.
God, that's a tough question to drop on me.
I think Diddy would be in there. I mean,
yeah,
he'd 100% be in there. I think Kanye would be in there because of.
Kanye 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kanye is just like their prime target at this point. Same with like Trump on South Park. He is just prime target.
I mean, Trump would definitely Trump would be in there with the new movie. Again, I'm not like focusing on black people, but it is like the fact that this is all coming out. I think Diddy, Kanye, Jay-Z, and Beyonce would all be in a new Team America. I think all 4 of those people would be in a new Team America, and they would be absolutely rinsed. So like they'd have Diddy like drown in baby oil or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, ridiculous. Yeah, I mean that just about wraps it up for us. I think I just wanted to end the episodes. I don't know if we'll stick with this format in future because it's just a conversation between 2 mates about movies, so it's going to be tangential as fuck as we go forward. But we may refine the process of this because we pretty much got through the movie in a linear fashion, but not really.
Yeah, I feel like everything got covered.
Yeah. So
it got covered like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, so I have one last question for you, and then if you will allow me to do so, I'd like us to spend 20 minutes, half an hour discussing the documented reviews that they got from people at the time, Roger Ebert, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So my last question is, if
I didn't actually look into any of the reviews of any of my research, so that would be quite fun.
There are some interesting quotes that I don't know. I don't know if.
I bet.
Yeah, I don't know. I really respect Ebert for like as you know most of the movie going world does, and he did not like this movie, which I thought was very funny.
He didn't like a lot of movies that I absolutely adored.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they liked Texas Chainsaw, which shocks me because they're very famously against it. Or actually, no, I think maybe he didn't like Texas Chainsaw, but he loved Devil's Rejects when it came out, which blows my mind.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about movie critiquing, isn't it? Like, it depends on what day you're having.
Yeah, it's so true. It is so true.
Also, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think I've said to you before, my favourite way of describing that movie, it's the only movie I've ever watched that I could smell. Like that dinner scene is horrific.
Oh, yeah.
My last question for you is, if someone had never seen Team America before and you were to try and convince them to watch it, how would you do that?
It depends who I was talking to. If it was someone like you, I would just say there's fucking puppet sex, dude. There is puppet sex. You need to see this movie.
I'm there already. Fucking semi-chubbed immediately.
I know you are. But somebody else, I'd say, you know, it's ridiculously immature, but it's also biting and it's just on point with its satire. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth a watch if you have a certain level of immaturity/maturity about you.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think that sums it up nicely. I think for myself, I would just say it's kind of, you have to have art like this that is anti-establishment, because otherwise we only have one side. You can't have art just saying everything is good all the time, because that's not a compelling story, and also it's not true. Like art.
Also, you kind of need offensive stuff to push boundaries of what's acceptable or not at a certain time period and things like that.
And push those boundaries so that we don't end up penned in this one space where we can't make anything, you know? And I think that's very important in all art forms. And
oh, yeah, 100%. I completely agree.
Right, so on to the final part of this. Again, just taking this from Wikipedia, it's the critical response. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, Team America World Police have a 77%, which I think is quite low, personally.
I think 77% is a pretty fair score. Like, I wouldn't see any movie at that rating and think, oh, that's a bad film then, you know? That's and any movie with that score should realistically be worth watching.
I get that, and especially when you've got a landscape of so many movies coming out all the time, like you can't have them be 100%. But if it was my personal opinion, it would be 85 plus. Like I love this movie.
Okay,
I
fair
love
enough.
this movie so much. Like yes, it's puppets. You can make so many arguments that like live action movies are like more artistic or more worthy of that attention. But like the effort that must have taken, and the voice acting is so good. Like yes, it's ridiculous, but it's so well executed.
Yeah.
So that's 77%.
It's over the top and ridiculous, but there's a point to it because of the kind of movie that it's spoofing.
Yes, exactly.
It is spoofing your Deep Impacts, your Armageddons, your Michael Bay movies, where everything is just so serious, but at the same time really fucking stupid. And logically, everyone that's watching it is like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time, the story takes itself seriously, and that's really effective. So that 77% is based on 198 reviews, average score of about 7. So you reckon you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd say I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Not that I really put too much stock into Rotten Tomatoes scores.
No, of course not. Like some of my favorite movies aren't enjoyed by like the general public, so it is what it is. But it's an interesting scope to look through sometimes.
Oh yeah, of course. I do always check it out just to see what people think.
No, but with the advent of review bombing as well, from like people on either agenda, like if it's too right wing or if it's too LGBT, like people will just absolutely review bomb it without even seeing the movie. It's a joke. Yeah, and it's the same with games as well, right? Like Baldur's Gate got review bombed, which is ridiculous. It's one of the best games ever made. But that's for a different podcast. Let's talk about that elsewhere. So the consensus on that site is Team America will either offend you or leave you in stitches. It will probably do both. I wasn't offended by any of it. No. I thought it was all hilarious. Absolutely stunning.
I feel like Matt Stone and Trey Parker could savage every aspect of me. Like everything that I'm about, they could just completely savage it, and I wouldn't be offended because it's what they do.
And it's just funny. So well. It's healthy to look insidewards and to look inwards and just realize, isn't it? We're all just fucking stinky bags of meat at the end of the day. Like, what are we being serious about? We're not going to be here that long. Jesus Christ.
Hopefully.
You know what? I'll leave that to you and your therapist, mate. So that brings us to Metacritic, which is again the other open source weighted review thing. So it's less personal, which is a good and a bad thing. Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic both suffer from the fact that they are open source. The film has a score of 64 out of 100, which again I think is really low.
That is surprisingly low.
Yeah, but apparently
I don't think 64 necessarily means that it's a bad movie, but I do feel like a 64 means it's a mediocre movie, and this movie's more than mediocre to me.
Totally agree. It says that indicates generally favourable reviews. I think having generally before favourable is a massive disservice to the guys on that one. So obviously Metacritic is critics, but it is still an amalgamation of critics. Rotten Tomatoes is the general public generally. So both of those seem to be in relative agreement with each other. Audiences surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film a B on an A+ to F- scale.
That's
about it, isn't
it?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that is the general public thing.
C, and I'd be fine with that as long as it gets a passing grade, as far as I'm concerned. Like this movie's definitely a pass.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I agree with the B only because it didn't stir me emotionally the way like my favorite movies do.
It's not the South Park movie to me, which would be an A.
Interesting.
This is a fair B.
So I was thinking about it in a different way. Like I don't know if there's a comedy movie out there I would rate as an A, because I love comedy so much, it's one of my favorite genres, but to have an A+, I need an Apocalypse Now, I need a 2001, I need something that really stirs me, like on an emotional level. But I think B is totally fair enough. So the first in this is Peter Travers of Rolling Stone praised the film as a ruthlessly clever musical, a punchy political parody, and the hottest look ever at naked puppets.
Yeah, it's true.
It's wicked, isn't it?
It's true. It was making me sweat.
I want to know what they cut, man. If they had to cut scenes from that and it's as ridiculous as it is, I have to know what they cut, because that is absolutely... Maybe it is someone's shit. Maybe you saw the extended cut.
Maybe I did.
Yeah. Are you looking it up right now?
I am looking it up. What was removed from the Team America sex scene?
God, here we go. Is it a scat
It
scene?
contains shots of Gary performing oral sex on Lisa from behind and 2 separate shots of them urinating/defecating on each other.
So you must have seen the extended version
I
somehow.
guess, damn.
Oh my god, that's so funny. So Kirk Honeycutt of The Hollywood Reporter, I haven't heard of Kirk Honeycutt before. Team America World Police is to political commentary what lap dancing is to ballet. That's fucking spot on. Well played. There is no room for subtlety, aiming a rude, foul-mouthed political satire everywhere, left, right, and centre. Trey Parker and Matt Stone blow up a good deal of the world, not to mention the egos of many Hollywood personalities. Yeah, thoroughly enjoy that.
That's a really fair review. It does take shots from every angle, left, right, or center.
I'll get one more out of the good ones because there are so many good reviews of this. There's one mentioning that the real kick is the grandeur and detail of the production design by Jim Doltz and David Rockwell. Shout out to you two, because that is genuinely insane what you managed to pull off with the stage design of a puppet movie. So we've got Brian Lowry of Variety was positive about the satire, saying the film goes the extra mile to piss off everybody, which includes gleefully destroying renowned Hollywood individuals, literally and figuratively. But he was less positive about other aspects of the film, saying, all told, the clever visual bits and hilarious songs don't entirely compensate for many flat or beyond over-the-top spells. I think he's missed the point of the movie to some extent in the latter half of that. Like, clever visual bits and hilarious songs are the movie. Like, they're not trying to compensate for anything.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, I'd agree with you that that's kind of the movie.
Yeah.
It just sounds like it's a movie that didn't resonate with him, which is fair enough.
Totally fair enough. Each to their own and all that kind of stuff. So moving on to some negative ones. We've got Kim Newman of Empire called it a patchy comedy that's actually stronger as a genre mocker than political satire. What do you think of that?
I think it's just as strong in both sides. I think it's brilliant at making fun of Michael Bay in like sort of Jerry Bruckheimer movies, but it's also just a brilliant satire of foreign policy and the way America looks at themselves.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, if you're soft-hearted about, people taking the piss out of the greatest country in the world, then of course you're not going to enjoy this movie. But I don't necessarily think that makes it patchy. It's clearly just not for some people. Yeah. Which sort of goes without saying. It is Team fucking America.
There is a level of immaturity to it that I can see some people not enjoying, but it is part of the reason why I find it so funny, because it is the immaturity along with the brilliant satire.
There's one more that I'll read before getting onto the Roger Ebert one, which I think is the most interesting review, and then I think we'll wrap this up after that. David Edelstein, in a review for Slate, called the film a stink bomb lobbed at American arrogance and overweening militarism, which is bang on the money. And Michael Atkinson from The Village Voice said, madly Rorschachian. Team America World Police appears to rev its...
Madly Rorschachian.
Yeah, isn't that dope?
So, I don't know, man. Some reviewers need to shut the fuck up.
Oh, I think madly Rorschachian is funny because you kind of see what you want to see if you're trying to be offended by something.
Yeah, that's true.
And he says, Team America World Police appears to rub its shitty boots on US militarism as well as Hollywood rebels. And I think that's a great summary. But yeah, you might be right. They are trying to like love the sound of their own voice a bit too much, aren't they? Which is funny.
I do find that with a lot of reviewers, they just... You don't need to use the words that you used there. You're just trying to sound smarter than the average person that's reading the reviews.
Yeah. Instead of Rorschachian, you could have said, you'll see what you want to see.
Yeah.
That's quite funny. I didn't have any problem with that when I read it, and now you've said it, I'm like, yeah, he actually sounds like a cunt, doesn't he?
Yeah, yes. you are a little bit pretentious.
Right, so, on to the big man, and I imagine... If we do this as part of the structure of the movies, Roger Ebert is gonna be the footnote on most of these because his reviews are either so scathing or so life affirming. There's no middle ground between the two.
And he was not a horror movie fan either. So
No, it's quite famously,
it's
right?
gonna be fun when we talk about some horror movies.
Yeah,
that
which
I'm gonna adore, and
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
probably enjoy too. And he fucking just either completely missed the point or hated. He hated The Thing, dude. He
Really?
hated The Thing. Yeah, man. He talked about how there was no suspense and the characters were all one-dimensional, one note, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, you're insane. You completely missed the point on that movie.
I was going to answer about my opinion on that, but we'll save that for an episode because I fucking love Kurt Russell, man.
Yep, we all do.
Right, so Roger Ebert gave the film 1 star out of 4.
Wow, this is far from a 1-star movie.
And he wrote, I wasn't offended by the movie's content so much as by its nihilism. And he was critical of the film's sneer at both sides approach, and he compared it to a cocky teenager who had a couple of drinks before the party. They don't have a plan for who they want to offend. Their only intention is to be as offensive as possible.
He's kind of accurate on what Trey Parker and Matt Stone are like, though.
That's what they're all about.
That is kind of it. They're not here to take sides. They're just here to point out how stupid it all is.
There we are. Yeah, I totally agree with
So
you, mate.
he is kind of right. It's just a shame he didn't like it.
I think what's so interesting about that is, well, there's 2 things. One is what you've just said. I think if it's always going to be 1 star if you don't appreciate the ability that you need or the talent that you need to go out and really hit people's nerves. Because you can't just do that. You could go out and scream in their faces. You're not going to hit them where it hurts. But Parker and Stone do it over and over and over again and with pinpoint accuracy. So if that's not your thing, you're just never going to like it. It's certainly not a 1-star movie. I don't agree with him on that, but you know,
1 star is beyond low for this movie.
I agree. But the nihilism thing is interesting because if you're looking for like a hopefulness or, you know, the hope for a better tomorrow, whatever, you're not going to find that in this movie. It's lampooning everyone. It's saying everyone is shit. Yeah. It's blowing up everything.
And like the world superpower is ridiculously full of itself.
Well, exactly. And, you know, it comes from a place of, I think, frustration turned into disgust, which is where they made this movie. Like, frustration at that situation turns into disgust. They made it into this insane art form, which is so fucking entertaining. That I find that review absolutely fascinating. I really do. Also, I've been that cocky teenager that he described. I've been that guy.
I think we all have. And that's definitely what Matt Stone and Trey Parker are, essentially. They're just poking the bear. Just poking the bear.
Yeah.
But it's what I love them for. One thing that we didn't touch on, did you ever actually watch Thunderbirds or Captain Scarlet or Stingray or anything like that?
Not Stingray, Captain Scarlet and Thunderbirds, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I could never get into any of them. They used to make me really uncomfortable. They used to scare the shit out of me, to be honest. It's probably Captain Scarlet's fault because of how scary
weird.
that fucking opening scene was.
Yeah, man.
The way the camera like whips round and you hear the cat jowl as it happens and then he's getting shot at, like it just used to scare the shit out of me. The atmosphere of that entire intro that show just really made me uncomfortable, and I just could never watch Thunderbirds or anything like that. So this is one of my only like actual experiences with the puppetry genre.
Interesting. That is interesting. I think that like it may well have made me uncomfortable had I discovered it on my own, because I can totally see it's not quite Uncanny Valley because they're so clearly not people but there is something very strange. It also has a flavor of that, but it like Captain Scarlet was something I inherited from my dad, who like sat and watched it with me and all that kind of stuff, so I just grew to love it so much. Like Pink Floyd, like the band Pink Floyd like absolutely terrified me because they're so atmospheric and so creepy in so many of their songs, but because they came from my dad, it was on all the time, and you kind of grow to love it from that. So I could totally see why people, and you're not alone in that either. Like I think it's very famously,
no, I'm definitely not alone in that.
Yeah, very famously, puppets make people uncomfortable. So just to wrap up with some last facts, Team America earned $12,120,358 in its opening US weekend, ranking number 3 behind only Shark Tale and Friday Night Lights, which for a puppet comedy movie is fucking massive.
It opened behind Shark Tale. It's tragic. But,
Yeah, but
I
Shark
mean,
Tale
it's
was
a
always
kids'
going to be
movie.
huge when it's a kids movie.
with
Jack
Will
Black,
Smith in
Will
it.
Smith, Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie. It's never going to fail that. The film eventually
And Martin
grossed.
Scorsese's in it.
Oh, he plays the pufferfish, doesn't he? And Robert De
Yeah.
Niro's in it.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. I mean, Shark Tale was always, that was a guaranteed hit, wasn't it, really? The film eventually
Friday Night
grossed.
Lights as well, like opening behind an NFL movie. I mean, I suppose yeah.
I haven't
like,
seen that.
You're talking about in the States, aren't you? Not worldwide, right? You're talking about in the
It's
States.
opening US weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, an NFL movie was naturally going to do pretty well in the States.
That makes sense. I didn't know Friday Night Lights was an NFL movie. I've never seen
Oh,
it.
it's a good movie.
Yeah. Not too into sports movies. There are a couple, but I don't really remember any that I like. So we'll see. So the film eventually.
It was good enough to spawn the TV show. So.
Oh, granted. Fair enough. The film eventually grossed a total of $50,946,640.
Based on what budget? 20 million.
It was a 32 million budget.
32 million budget. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. With 32,886,074 just from US domestic. So they made all of their money back just in the US. And then a further 18,160,566 in international proceeds. We've come so many decades in the future.
It doesn't actually sound like it made all that much then, realistically, because factoring in like advertisements and all that kind of stuff, because that's never actually included in the initial budget.
No, exactly.
It sounds like it didn't really make all that much.
And I think having 18 million in international proceeds, like that's such a small amount compared to what we're used to hearing about today. Not accounting for inflation over the last 20 years, which I'm sure would make somewhat of a difference. I think it is almost a break-even movie. Obviously, it's not quite, but it looks like a break-even movie here.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a fucking tragedy, and I think everyone should grow up.
Think that shocks me with how quotable it is, and how over the years I have heard so many different people quote it.
Well, this is why it's called a cult classic, right? And I always argued against it, and it wasn't until doing research for this podcast that I was like, fuck, maybe it is actually a cult classic, and it's not as mainstream as I thought.
Maybe it is a cult classic. I would have thought that this was pretty fucking mainstream for a comedy movie from my youth. I would have thought this was pretty mainstream.
Mad, isn't it? Insane. Anyway, that is Team America, ladies and gentlemen. If you've stuck around this long, how the fuck you managed that, I've got no idea, but thank you.
Jesus, yeah, that's like 2.5 hours worth of us talking shit about a 90-minute movie.
Absolutely love it. So the plan is, basically, we're going to take turns swapping movie suggestions with each other. We go and watch the movie throughout the week. We make notes on it and we talk about it. So the next up will be my friend Jordan here telling me to watch what movie?
Well, here we go. While I want to do Sling Blade, I was thinking today, because we lost one of the greatest filmmakers of all time in January with David Lynch passing, I feel like for my first episode, I should do a Lynch movie.
More than happy.
So I'm thinking I might change my mind on that and stick with Sling Blade, because that movie is just living rent-free in my head at the moment. But I might switch it up to either Blue Velvet or Eraserhead. But I will let you know through the week what I decide on that one.
I look forward to that. Let us know in the comments if you have any movies that you want us to do as well, and we'll look into doing that. We are looking into building a Patreon, putting that together where we could have people chip in and have like a spinning wheel of movies to do your own movie choice and shit like that. We do have a few plans for this. The format may change. Quality will hopefully get better throughout as we learn what the fuck we're doing. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.
Yeah, see you later. Take care.
Let's go to the movies.